हाँ जी, सत करतार एवरीवन, वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह, नमस्कार, अस्सलाम वालेकुम ते जी आया नू. This is the 144th Baiṭhak of the YaarAnād Virtual Baithak Series. 144वां Mēlā, as we say. Today is very unique. It's the first conversation that I'm going to be having with a fellow instrument maker. In fact, he makes organs, and quite a personality. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And Claudio Pinchi is an Italian organ builder based in Foligno, a town known for its manufacturing traditions. He started his apprenticeship under his father, Guido, continuing a family tradition of building new instruments and restoring historical organs. Quite an exciting, that's quite a story. The Pinchi family has been involved in the trade since the 1920s with the establishment of Fabbrica, Artigiana, the Organi Pinchi. In 2001, Claudio was involved in the ideation and building of a Claviorgan, a cohesion between organ and harpsichord, for Professor Claudio Brizi, whom I've had the fortune of conversing with. And of course, Claudio, both the Claudios, Claudio Brizi and Claudio Pinchi, Claudio to the power of 2, and I are planning already to do some things in the near future. And thus was created the Pinchi Pedalpiano System. The Pinchi Organi company has built 430 new organs in Italy and abroad, and supplied its organs for numerous recording sessions and concerts for theaters, companies, and soloists. Among the most famous organs is the organ at San Pio of Pietrelcina Church, designed by Renzo Piano. It has got 78 stops, 5.814 pipes, and 4 keyboards. That's 5,814 pipes, is it? 5,814 pipes. And the organ of the Basilica of Santa Maria dei Angeli in Assisi. In addition to designing the project based on the impression of the location in which the instrument will be situated, Claudio deals with the entire project chain, from the tonal design of the organ pipes to the final voicing and tuning. His method is based on the work done in the final destination of the organ. He's working restoring the Angelo Caetani organ of Rome's Church of Saint Mary Magdalene in Capranica Prenestina, and on the Domenico Fedeli organ of San Vitale Church in Assisi. Thank you for that, Claudio. So dosto, I'll just now introduce you in my mother tongue, Punjabi, which is not too far from Italian, especially Neapolitan. So just think that you're listening to something to the east of Neapolitan. So dosto, mitro, mere jani dushmano, I address all my friends and enemies. By the way, Claudio, that's what I said in Punjabi just now. So, amici and nemici, tutti, I address everyone. So, dosto, darindeo, parindeo, te mere jani dushmano, ji aaya nu, aaj 144ਵੀਂ ਇਹ ਬੈਠਕ ਸੀਰੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਮੇਲਾ ਹੈਗਾ. ਮੈਂ ਬੜਾ ਸ਼ੁਕਰਗੁਜ਼ਾਰ ਹਾਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢਦੇ ਹੋ, ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ, ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਦੇ ਕਦੇ ਭੁੱਲੇ ਬਿਸਰੇ. ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਅੱਜ ਬੜੀ ਖਾਸ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਰਾ ਰਿਹਾ. ਇਹ YaarAnād Virtual Baithak Series ਦੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਹੈਗੀ, ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਫਸਟ ਕਨਵਰਸੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਂ ਅਰਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਇੰਸਟਰੂਮੈਂਟ ਮੇਕਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਲੂਥੀਅਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ. Or organ building is blend of luthiery and machines. You know, it's quite a complex system. It's actually a machine. It's like almost like you're driving a vehicle, but it's a sonic vehicle. ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਲਾਉਡੀਓ ਪਿੰਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਟਲੀ ਦੇ ਫੋਲੀਨੀਓ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਦੇ ਵਸਨੀਕ ਹਨਗੇ. ਉੱਥੇ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਮੈਨੂਫੈਕਚਰਿੰਗ ਬੜੀ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਹੈ, ਉਤਪਾਦਨ ਉੱਥੇ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਰਿਹਾ. ਔਰ ਕਲਾਉਡੀਓ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਿਤਾ ਗੁਈਦੋ ਦੇ ਚਰਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਲਾ ਹੈ ਸਿੱਖਣੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ 1920 ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਕਾਰਜ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਇਮੈਜਿਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਬਣਾਈ ਸੀ ਫੈਬਰਿਕਾ ਆਰਟੀਜਾਨੇ ਦੀ ਔਰਗਾਨੀ ਪਿੰਕੀ, ਇਹ 1920 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਸਟੈਬਲਿਸ਼ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਸੀ। 2001 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਕਲਾਉਡੀਓ ਬ੍ਰੀਜ਼ੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਨਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਰੀ ਸੀਸੀ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਨਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਰੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਦੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਉਸਤਾਦ ਹਨ, ਕਿ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਉਸਤਾਦ ਨੇ ਔਰਗਨ ਦੇ, ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਨਵਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਾਈਬ੍ਰਿਡ ਸੀਗਾ ਔਰਗਨ ਤੇ ਹਾਰਪਸੀਕॉर्ड ਦਾ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸਰੰਦਾ ਹਾਈਬ੍ਰਿਡ, ਉਹ ਸੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਹੈਗਾ, ਕਈ ਜਣੇ ਵਜਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਰੰਦੇ ਦਾ, ਜਾਂ ਸ਼ਮਿੰਦਰਪਾਲ ਹੋਣੀ ਵੀ ਵਜਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਰੰਦੇ ਦਾ ਥੱਲੇ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਰੈਟਬੋਰਡ ਉਹ ਸਰੰਗੀ ਦਾ ਬਣਾ ਤਾ। ਹਾਈਬ੍ਰਿਡ ਸਾਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਓਰੀਜਨਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਪਰ ਨਵੇਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਨਵੇਂ ਜੇ ਅੱਛੇ ਅਕਲ ਨਾਲ ਬਣੇ ਹੋਣ ਤੇ ਭਲੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਕਲਾਵੀ ਔਰਗਨ ਇਹਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਔਰਗਨ ਤੇ ਹਾਰਪਸੀਕॉर्ड ਦਾ ਇਹ ਮਿਸ਼ਰਣ ਸੀ, ਔਰ ਉਹਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਪਿੰਕੀ ਪੈਦਲ ਪਿਆਨੋ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਰੱਖਿਆ। ਔਰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਚੱਜ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਚੋਰ ਕਰੇ ਚੋਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਪਕੜਾ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਏ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਰੋਂਦੇ ਵੀ ਨੇ ਚੋਰ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸ਼ਰਾਰਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਪਰ ਜੇ ਅਕਾਦਮਿਕ ਨਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਨ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਅਕਾਦਮਿਕ ਦੇਣ ਵੀ ਮੰਨੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਰਾਗ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਨਵਾਂ ਦੇਤਾ, ਜਾਂ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਸਾਜ਼ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ ਸ਼ਕਲ ਉਹਦੀ ਨਵੀਂ ਬਣਾਤੀ, ਜਿਹਦਾ ਓਰੀਜਨਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਲੈਣਾ ਦੇਣਾ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ। ਪਿੰਕੀ ਪੈਡਲ ਪਿਆਨੋ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਹਾਰਪਸੀਕॉर्ड ਤੇ ਔਰਗਨ ਦਾ ਮਿਸ਼ਰਣ ਸੀ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹੈ ਪਿੰਕੀ ਔਰਗਨੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ, 430 ਨਿਊ ਔਰਗਨ, 450 ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ 430 ਨਵੇਂ ਔਰਗਨਸ ਇਟਲੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਔਰ ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ 'ਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਏ ਨੇ। ਔਰ ਇਹ ਸਪਲਾਈ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਔਰਗਨਸ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਿਕਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਸੈਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੋਣ ਜਾਂ ਕੌਨਸਰਟਸ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਥੀਏਟਰਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਪਨੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਸੋਲੋਇਸਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਜਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਸਪਲਾਈ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਸੇਂਟ ਪੀਓ ਪੀਟਰਲਚੀਨਾ ਚਰਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਉੱਥੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਔਰਗਨ ਹੈਗਾ, ਰੈਂਜ਼ੋ ਪਿਆਨੋ ਦਾ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਜਿਹਦੇ 78 ਸਟਾਪਸ ਹਨਗੇ ਤੇ 5814 ਪਾਈਪਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ, ਤੇ 4 ਕੀਬੋਰਡਸ ਨੇ। ਔਰ ਇੱਕ ਔਰਗਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬੜਾ ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਹੈਗਾ, ਬੈਸਿਲਿਕਾ ਆਫ ਸੈਂਟਾ ਮਰੀਆ ਦੇਈ ਐਂਜਲੀ ਇਨ ਅਸੀਸੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਹੈ, ਉੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਔਰਗਨ ਹੈਗਾ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਕਾਫੀ ਕੰਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਪੂਰੀ ਐਂਟਰਪ੍ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਹੈਗਾ। ਤਸਵੀਰਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਦਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਔਰ ਇਹ ਫਾਈਨਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੌਇਸਿੰਗ ਤੇ ਟਿਊਨਿੰਗ ਆਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਟੋਨਲ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨ ਇਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਸਤਾਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਪੂਰੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਚੇਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਖਾਸ ਇਹ ਅਖੀਰ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਦੀ ਵੌਇਸਿੰਗ ਤੇ ਟਿਊਨਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਆਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਐਂਜਲੋ ਕਾਇਤਾਨੀ ਔਰਗਨ ਹੈਗਾ, ਰੋਮ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚਰਚ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਸੈਂਟ ਮੈਰੀ ਮਗਦਲੇਨੇ ਕਪਰਾਨੀਕਾ ਪ੍ਰੈਨੇਸਟੀਨਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਔਰ ਡੋਮੇਨਿਕੋ ਫੇਦੇਲੀ ਔਰਗਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੈਨ ਵਿਤਾਲੇ ਚਰਚ ਅਸੀਸੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਦੇ ਦਿਆਂ, ਤੇ ਆਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰੀਏ। ਤੇ ਵਾਰਤਾ ਮੈਂ ਆਫਕੋਰਸ posso parlare in Punjabi, no? ਆਪਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਕਲਾਉਡੀਓ? I'm kidding. We can't speak in Punjabi. We have to speak in English. I wish I could have spoken in Italian, but I speak very little Italian. My sons, of course, speak very well, and one of them is in Turin.
You didn't hear my Punjabi.
Yes, I would love to hear. So welcome to the YaarAnād Virtual Baithak Series. Thank you for taking time out, Claudio. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I've been looking at your work. Of course, we have so many common friends, and I'm so happy that we are in conversation today. How are you doing?
Thank you for your invitation.
Are you in your office today, or are you at home?
No, today I'm in the office.
I see. So tell me about...
We are preparing.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we are preparing a new job. We are delivering on Monday.
Oh, really?
So we are...
Wow.
Yes, we are. Whatever it happened, we have to finish the work we planned for this year. So
no coronavirus for you. No coronavirus excuse for you. You have to deliver.
we lost 1.5 months, but now we're recovering.
Okay, that's it's quite an interesting story. You know, it's 100 years. In fact, this is your father's. This is the centenary year. Huh? Congratulations for that. This is 100 years. Is extraordinary a journey.
No, it's the firma was founded in 1930. Probably there is a mistake in the.
Oh, I see.
Typing.
I was
Anyway.
When we spoke, it was 30s, but I was looking at my team. I think there was some miscommunication. When I was reading, I said 20s. I thought it was 30. I just said 90. Then I corrected myself. I said, but it should have been 90. Continue. Anyway, but 90 is still worth complimenting.
90, no, it's okay. Still a lot of time.
Yeah.
The interesting part is that my grandfather, who founded the firma, he studied. He took his apprentice with Renzo Fedeli, who was a very famous builder and the last of the dynasty of Fedeli.
Oh, I see.
Today we restore organs that have more than 400 years from this family.
I see.
So a very long tradition that is not corrupted or interrupted. So that's the most interesting part. So that nothing until today has ever stopped in this timeline.
Fantastic.
And that's the nice part of the job.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a very complicated job. It takes a long time training in several disciplines, because you have to take care of every single part of an organ, which is a very complicated machine. So there is some mechanic, there is some architectural fact, there is some stylish fact. You have to give a good shape to the organ, or sound and appearance. They have to be in harmony, because something that is not good to see, your brain will start thinking that will also not be so good to hear, to listen to. So I like to consider an organ as a lively, how can I say, something that live, and that it is composed of so many parts that they have to be in agree all together.
Yeah, it has to
harmony.
It has to be in harmony. Yes, exactly, in consultation. But so the Fedeli family is since 4 centuries.
Yes, we have the beginning of the family is from the 17th century. And they started in the small town that is exactly in the middle between Marche region and Umbria region.
I see.
But at that time there was no regions at all.
Yeah.
There was the Granducato, and
exactly.
there were places where the church, the Vatican, was in chief.
So your tradition is a little junior than mine. Mine is 5.25 centuries old.
I know.
So you have to behave with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to treat me with little respect, and I have to be brash with you. I have to be pretentious with you.
But we will have a time to speak about my great respect for your tradition and all the traditions from your country, because I read some books and I love to study about.
Yeah, I'm hoping that in the very near future we will have you construct an organ in India. So maybe that will be fantastic.
Maybe.
It'll be
why
not? Yes, absolutely. And so tell me, you were telling about your grandfather and this Fedeli, the last gentleman from that line. So that family does not make any more, or is there still, the family still lives?
There are some relatives, but they didn't took part in the job.
Okay, so
Zeno.
Okay.
Zeno was the last one that worked as organ builder, and he died in 1929.
I see.
He had one or two doctors, but none of them continued with the tradition. Then the company was held for a certain time from another man from Foligno, that was Giustozzi, and my grandfather started his own business because this man married the daughter of Fedeli.
I see.
So he made a joint venture.
I see.
But at the end, after his death, the company closed it, and we still continue. We try to.
Okay. And so, how long did your grandfather study with him?
Since he was 18, because, or a little bit more early than the 18, until the death. So, 21, 8 years about. 8, 9 years.
8, 9 years. Okay.
Yes.
And,
then he had almost all the knowledge. He was very smart. I think my grandfather was very smart to understand how to make a production in series in the beginning. It was the time of the Industrial Revolution after the Second World War. So the First World War, and then during the Second World War, he had the workshop bombed for 2 times.
Really?
So he had to stop. Then yes, because unfortunately it was exactly on the right way. So it was a strategic point.
I see.
And so both the Americans and the German bombed.
Both.
Just all together.
Caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
So you can now claim that the Germans have played your family's organs, and so have the Americans. Instead of saying bombed them, you can claim that they played them.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of playing with the fingers, they played with the bombs.
Yeah. And after that, after the Second World War, he rebuilt the shop in another place, a little bit far than the right way this time. So, just to be sure. And since the time, started to build organs, and always bigger. You start with the small ones because you need to fix your knowledge,
right?
And then you can grow on up, and you arrive to build huge organs with 40, 50 stops and more. So it's not exactly the same when you build a small or medium to the big one, because the jump from the mid-sides to the big ones is enormous.
I see.
From 1 to 3 keyboards, you can easily manage if you know the job. When you start to do 4 or 5 manuals, then the game complex. Starts to be hard.
It's a hard game. I like that. So shall we start to everyone? Me and Claudio have put together a little PDF in which I requested him that if he could tell us. I mean, the process is very many months long. In fact, even when I'm making a taus or a rabab or a saranda, it takes, because we season the wood while making. We work on, like in my tradition, we work with wet wood and we dry it in the fly as it is taking shape. And so it takes several months, sometimes even 2 years. I mean, I now hardly get a chance to make them, but I have to start soon. There are many requests. But just to tell everyone that as this process which Claudio Pinchi works with takes several months, he will of course be able to tell his story using maybe several hundred photos. But I requested him if we can zero in on to some photos so that we can all have an idea of a little peep into the process of organ making. He was very kind and dug out about 70 images of different stages. I think there are about 11 stages. And me and him, we worked. He collected the photos. I put together the PDF and so on and so forth. So, Claudio, shall we start showing, and so that everyone who's joining can have an idea of what we are talking about? The beginning is, of course, the inizio, of course. And here we go. The first image.
So a brief explanation. This is the project of a small organ with 11 stops that we built last year for the San Benedict convent in Norcia, in the monastery, that was destroyed by the earthquake in 2016. And now they are in this small church that is made of wood, but the organ will be moved to the real church as soon as they finish the work of restoration. So for an organ builder, when you start a new project, it's like for the painter to have a white canvas, because we have a church, we have a style, we have a place, and we have to try to give to the customer a rough idea of size and appearance of the instrument. So in this draw, you see the small church reconstructed with a CAD drawing, and a first proposal just to give the idea of what is in my mind. So how I intend to put the pipes. So you see it's a very simple draw with no embellishment, no woodworking. And just to explain to the customer, okay, I think that this is the best position. The sound can be good from here.
So tell me one thing before we before we continue with the sound part. When you say 11 stops or 7 stops at time, what do you mean by the stops?
A stop is a rank of pipes that start with the biggest one, which is on the first key of the keyboard, and the smallest one is the last key of the keyboard.
I see. So 7 stops means seven octaves.
No, 7 stops are 7 ranks of pipes.
I see, 7 ranks, 7 lines,
which are related to every rank. Have, for example, a normal keyboard have 61 notes from C to C, okay? Big C to small c. So if I say that this organ have 10 stops, it means that there are 61 pipes for 10 ranks.
I see.
So 610 pipes.
I see, okay.
Some stops can be multiply of ranks. So they can have 3, 5, 10 ranks. So if you pull one stop, you are playing more than 600 pipes.
I see.
So that's a little bit tricky to understand, but
amazing. No, we are there to understand. Yeah, yeah.
In this case, we have a very simple instrument with 11 stops. That means 11 ranks with 54 stops. This is 54 notes because it's a smaller keyboard.
Right.
So it's an organ with 540 pipes. And what do you see is that there are 2 keyboards.
Right.
There are one pedal board. You can play with your foot. And the stop knobs is a small black made with turning machine that you can pull to open and close every single voice.
I see.
So if we go to the second image.
Yes, I'm there. Just now I went there, yeah.
Okay. This is a second proposal where I try to show that we can do also something nice to see.
I see.
Okay. So
The design
with
on the
a
top, carving.
yes, design of the top. Then you discuss with the customer for the, of course, for the drawing for the appearance part. And in the third, you see the final draw where the customer asked for a special design, because this is the typical Italian prospect.
I see.
In our, in our region, the very old instruments from the early 16th century until the almost the 17th, you find this five. We say that there are 5 field of pipes, and these 2 small prospect pipes you see in the top.
Yes, in the center.
Yes, we call it dead organs, because they don't speak.
Oh, I
They
see.
are just for, dummy pipes.
I see.
More correct.
They're for a visual. They're like a visual delight.
Exactly. Sometimes they are also speaking pipes, but it's not common. On the bigger organs, you used to make also speaking pipes.
I see.
Not in this case. This is just for the beauty of the style. And then we decided also to make the moldings and the gilding with the silver foil.
I see.
And painting. Then we will see later.
I see.
So once the project is defined, so the customer have agreed with the appearance and the number of stops, and of course of the price, because that's an important part.
Yeah.
We start with the projecting of the wall organ, so the keyboard and the wind chests and all the parts that will make the organ working. And this is a long process. It takes about 1 month to make a final draw and start the production. And we are speaking about 11 stops.
I see.
So a very small organ.
Right, right.
You can imagine how long it takes to make drawings for 80 stops organ.
Wow.
It takes months. So once we decide everything about the measure, the style, because organs can be of several different styles, depend from which kind of music you intend to play on. So if you like in this case, we would like to have a typical Italian organ. We can say classic. Okay.
Right.
So we take the classic measure for the keyboards and for the pipes, and we take inspiration from an organ from 1509.
I see.
That is 500 years.
I see.
Old. That we restored in 2005.
I see.
This organ. So we know all the measure, and I thought, okay, this is a good chance to build something that is in our tradition,
right?
But actualize it, not simply a copy.
Right.
I don't like the in my job. Copying is a possibility, but not the first one for me.
Yes.
So you are now on the picture number.
We go to the next one, which is the drawing one.
Okay, the keyboard.
Yeah.
The keyboard. Okay, and then we can.
The drawing, yes. So this is the process where you're measuring the keyboard, yeah.
Yeah, we were defining the exact size of the keys.
I see.
Because the measure of keyboard are important because some things you can do on ancient keyboard, but it's much harder to do the things on the modern one. So if you think to a classic organ, an Italian, typical Italian organ, you cannot do with a normal key like a piano, because the player will be in a big difficulty with the articulation, because every keyboard have different distance from notes and depth of the keys. So the way you play change. So the standard, the modern keyboard is good for some music, but cannot be as good as for the modern music, also for the old one.
I see. Fantastic. So the next process is on selecting woods. So after you've done all the measurements,
that's a little trick, because the woods were selected much before the drawing.
I see.
Because differently from you say that you work your instruments with a live wood that dry during the process. In our case, we have to work with dried wood.
Yes, yeah.
And that's very important, because the part where we are going to build, they don't have to move for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the organ will start to make strange sounds, because the wind will go everywhere.
Right.
So the wood selection is made some months. As soon as we sign the contract, we have, of course, the most common wood we use in a stock. But for a special work, like in this case, they asked for a chestnut casework to match the existing bench of the church. So we have to select the beautiful chestnut, local chestnut. And they asked also for a very precious woodwork for keyboard and for details.
I see.
Okay? So when we started selecting wood, we have to choose, for example, the walnut that we use it for the wind chest. If you see this, the first picture is the big, these big tables, very dark. This is the typical Italian chestnut. And then you see the walnut, not the chestnut. And the clearer one is the chestnut. And then there is a very black table.
Yes.
And you will see better in the close-up, which is palisander. It's an exotic wood that must use it for the keyboard in guitar or violin. And we use it for the sharp keys.
I see.
For the black keys. So it is very important to buy the wood and selecting the tables that match always the same design. Because when you build, if you have to build a violin, it's easier to find a couple of tables that look similar.
Yes.
You have to cover a very small surface. But if you have to build an organ and you have to make something that is maybe 4-6 meters tall, it's not so good to see that the wood is not all the same.
Yes.
So it's a critical point if you want to give a very good case.
Right.
And you have to have a very good supplier and very passionate, because you ask, please open and let me see. But not many agree with this. Mainly because not many work are last with real woodwork. So we can see these different kind of woods that and the most soft we used to put in higher places where it's more warm for a quicker dry.
Right.
And then we start when we start to work this kind of woods, we give a first cut to we peel off the surface of the wood, and we bring near the correct sides, and then we wait for 1, 2, 3 months more.
Right. The seasoning must
after,
happen. The wind chest. The first is the wind chest, for example. Right.
Yes. So we bring the wood to the final sides, the final thickness, only at the very last moment, to give the most of the time the wood to move and to adjust itself.
I see.
And this is very important, especially for the parts that have to work with wind, because wind
will dry.
Yeah. Must.
So how much margin do you keep in this when you, for example, in the first image, the planks are standing, which are already shaped, right?
In our work, we accept a tolerance that is always under the millimeter.
So, so the wood, because it is already seasoned, is it? The wood is already seasoned, and there will be no warping. It will remain where it is. It is just going to dry. That's it. Only for finishing.
Yes. Okay. Of course, there are some parts of the organ which are less sensible to the moving of wood.
I see.
For example, the casework. We made the panel and we made the junction between the panel in a way that they can move to compensate, for example, in the different seasons. Because here we have a very cold winter, maybe, and very wet summer.
Yeah.
So it is impossible to stop the wood from moving.
Yeah.
Of course. But we keep this in our mind, and we try to give the correct margins to the wood to move.
Okay.
But there are some parts they have not to move. Absolutely. Right. That's why we use harder wood like the walnut.
Right.
Which is very hard to work.
High density. Yeah.
So in some case the tolerance is 0.
Oh, I see.
It cannot be different.
I see.
If you think that in very big organs, from the key on the keyboard and the pallets that give wind to the pipe, in the middle there are trackers that are 10 meters, 12 meters long. And the tolerance is less than ½ millimeter.
My goodness. That's fantastic.
Because otherwise you play the key and the valve didn't open.
Right.
Or don't open enough to give the right wind to the pipes. So that's why it's very important that nothing moves. Because on 15 meters or 12 meters organ, like in San Giovanni Rotondo, you between summer and winter, you have something like 30 degrees Celsius in difference.
Amazing.
So you have 12 meters organ can move of 2 centimeters, and that's not possible.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a really critical issue.
I mean, to make something in India would be quite a story in that sense, because the expansion, the humidity, the extremes are much, and the wood will, apart from the warping, that which has to be anticipated in advance, it is the expansion and contraction.
Yes, of course. But in that case, it's quite intelligent to use some special woods that are more resistant to the movement, like mahogany, for example, or yellow pine, which is a very, very strong wood and resists to water.
I
also.
See.
So we know how to, but of course every single case is different.
Right. So tell me the last image which this gentleman is working on. Is it the base of the keyboard which is being prepared?
Which one? Yeah, you are after the wind chest?
In the wind chest, yes. In the wind chest, the last image of the wind chest.
Yes, you see that this is the lower part of the wind chest.
Right.
And these are the pallets. The name is pallets.
Yeah.
And you see there are these.
When you press the keys, these open. The keys are on top of that, right? It is reversed. It is upside down, right?
Exactly. And all you see, where you see white, the white is the leather.
Oh, that makes sense. I was wanting, because that would have been otherwise very soft wood, almost like balsa or. No. Yeah, it's not that. It's leather.
It's lamb skin.
Right. Okay.
It's lamb skin on both sides,
on
the pallet and on the surface.
I see.
To guarantee that no wind will go in.
Right. And what glue do you use now? You still use traditional glues or new glues now? Do you need animal hide glue or what?
In restoration work, we use the animal glue.
Okay.
Because it's we have to warranty the reversible of the work you do.
Yeah, reverse engineering. What was used? So you have to find out what was used and you have to match it.
Exactly. In modern organs, it depends. For example, here we use both the. We don't use vinylic glue. Actually, we use mainly the aliphatic glue. You know, this glue made especially for lute. It's very nice glue.
And what's the age of that? I mean, if in case restoration is needing, it can come off, or you have to use certain materials to remove. In 20, 30 years, what will be the process? You have to remove totally, scrap it?
If you want to be sure that the new glue stay and last, you have to clean very well the old one.
Yes. Okay.
So we use the normal animal glue. But the surface, first we restore the surface and we clean very well with the water, hot water, and the sponges and the clothes.
Right. So we go to the keyboard section now?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Here on the first picture you see why is so dramatic, important the wood.
Yes.
This is the table. This is the table where we cut the lever of the keyboard. So if you look very close to the picture, you will see that there are very, very narrow piece of wood glued together.
Yes.
It's not a big piece of wood, but we made stripes of 2 centimeters, almost 2 centimeters, and we glue it together in the respecting the veneering of wood, and we put one on the we can say even side and one on the odd side, so alternatively. So at the end the wood will move in 2 different directions, but the tension of the table will be almost the same.
Right. That's
And
very
we have
smart.
to do this for every, yeah.
Yeah.
And after we make the gluing, then we bring the table to the final thickness, always with a long process of cutting and peeling off 1 millimeter, and then we wait, and then another millimeter on both sides, and until we reach the final thickness. After that, in the next picture, you see we draw on the table the
Right.
cut for the keys. And here you see also the sharp keys that we cutted from the palisander. And because of the special work they asked for, we made also the tarsia on the keys, and you will see on the next picture. So with thanks to the modern technology in this case, we used a laser machine
Oh,
to
I
cut.
see. That's
You see?
cheating, Claudio.
Yes. That's a really dramatic speed up to the work
Isn't it?
because tarsia take a long time normally,
Yeah.
and using laser machine it's dramatically faster and precise.
Yes.
You can say they are all the same. Absolutely.
Yes.
So this special design they asked for, they choose this very nice design for the sharp key. And after that we glue it on the top of the keys you see in the next picture. And here in this picture you see that the two keyboards are already cutted.
Brilliant.
Okay, and you see there are holes in the back of the keys, and in these two holes you will make the wires going through and lock these wires under every keyboard,
I
and
see.
this will be the main action of the organ.
Wow. It's already looking beautiful.
Thank you. And in the next picture you see the keyboard finished
Yes.
and inserted in the organ together with many others part. And this special design of keyboard we call shift coupling, because you can move the second keyboard, the one on the top, will move forward and backward,
Oh, I see.
and will permit the coupling of the two keys. So once you pull the keyboard at you,
That's amazing.
you will play. It's a trick. It's like to have a forehand because you
Yes.
play on the first, and the second will fall
Yes.
together to the first.
I see.
And downstairs in the picture you see also the rest of the mechanics for the pedal.
Yeah.
And this black board you see vertically on the top of keyboard is named roller board.
I see.
Okay, this mechanical part is made to permit a different design of the organ respect to the keyboard. So the keyboard go from 1 to 61, and the pipes logically they have to go from 1 to 61. But if you look at the design of the organ, you will see that the pipes are not on a straight line, but they
Yes.
made a design. So with the roller board, you put the design you like in prospect, and you move the pipes on the chest, taking the first, for example, taking the first note on the far left and bring it to the middle of the organ. So it's like a transportation of the note from one position to another.
Right.
And that's how we can draw this beautiful prospect in the old organs.
Amazing. That's amazing.
You see this in the last picture of the keyboard.
It's beautiful.
The
Wow.
front of the key
Yeah.
have this decoration that we call the snail.
Right. This is also laser
And
done or
this
hand done? This is also laser?
hand done.
Hand done. Uh-huh.
No. This is made with a special turning point.
Right.
With a standard, with a normal drilling machine.
Right.
But you have to build your own snail, starting from a metal piece, and then you can make your own draw of the style you like.
Right. It's amazing. Beautiful. Compliments for this. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And then we come to the bellows, the breath, the lungs, the lungs of the instrument.
Lungs, exactly. The bellows are the lungs of the organ. So the wind will be conserved in these bellows, and the bellows have two functions. The first function, of course, is to give the reservoir of wind to the organ. So when you play, the wind must not be too few, or the organ don't have to lack of air. Otherwise, you will hear like the people that, I cannot breathe anymore.
Yes.
So the sound will start to be very, very slow and out of tune, because the pipes speak correct only if speak with the right wind. So the double function of bellows is to give reservoir and to give the correct pressure to the pipes.
Right.
Okay? So normally you can have one or more bellows in an organ.
I see.
And this depends from how many different pressure you want to have.
I see.
Okay? Because not all the pipes speak with the same pressure. It's not a rule. The rule is you do what you need. So if you need a certain kind of sound, you need one pressure. And if you want a softer sound, maybe you need a lower pressure. If you want a strong sound, you need higher pressure. And this is related to the church, of course, or to the space you have to...
So you predetermine it, what pressure is required, but then you cannot change after it's made already. So it remains how you have, or you can modulate it.
It's not exactly. You can start, for example, with you try to guess the correct pressure and the correct size of the pipes. And of course, you have to be skilled and go as much close to the result as possible, just in the projecting moment. At the time of project, you have to know almost exactly what you will need for the sound you want.
I see.
But you have some small range in which you can move. When you go in the church with the organ, you do the voicing, so you start to make every single pipe speaking in the church.
I see.
Okay, so if you feel that the sound is not strong enough, you can maybe adjust a little bit the pressure or change a little bit on the voicing style. But
I see.
this does not happen normally, because
it's almost like air. It's almost like calibrating the air pressure, is it?
More than the air pressure is calibrating the pipes.
Also, yes, both. In fact, there are two things.
Yeah. So the pressure is almost what you decided from the beginning.
I see.
And it's based mainly to the experience.
That you would know already. Yeah, I mean, yeah, templates get formed if you're using a certain thickness. This is the pressure that you need, or the motor that you need.
Exactly.
I see. So the second image has got two bellows in this. Did you use two bellows in this one?
In this organ, we have three bellows.
I see. I see.
Because I decided to split the wind between the two manuals. And to do so, we need a third bellows, which is the main reservoir, and is the one that gives the strongest wind with the higher pressure. And then the second and the third bellow lowering the pressure to the correct one. And we have also a big stop in pedal, so on the pedal board, which is a 16-foot, so a pipe of 3 meters.
Wow.
Which is in the back of the organ. And for this stop, we need a lot of wind more. So we take the wind from the first bellow, which is the biggest one.
I see.
The more strong. And then we bring the rest of the wind to the two manuals with the other two bellows. And this is only a 11-stop organ.
Wow.
So in bigger organs, you have 17, 20, 30 bellows.
Don't tell me. Really?
Because wind. Yes, absolutely. In San Giovanni Rotondo, we have 17 bellows.
San Giovanni Rotondo, 17 bellows. My goodness.
Plus one main bellows for the strong wind, and two other bellows for the pedal.
I see.
So totally we have 20.
In the old times, I mean the original times, of course, before the electric motor came, are there still manual paddles? There would be separate people pumping air, or how did that work originally?
Yeah. There were different systems. One is on the very big organs, they usually have a main place where 2 or 3 people were hanged to a bar and pumping with a foot.
I see.
Like something like the stepper in the modern
moving.
Yeah,
like the gymnasium thing. Yeah, gymnasium
exactly.
Thing.
Like the stepper in the gymnasium. In the smaller organ in Italy, we have manual pumping with a lever. So you lift up. You have 2 bellows.
I see.
Once one bellow is up, you leave. You go down and give the wind. And when the first bellow is almost down, you lift up the second one.
I see.
So it's
to sustain the same pressure. Like on the harmonium, the good player would know how to sustain the same pressure, because otherwise the sound can change. In that sense.
Exactly.
So it's a similar, etiquette. The people who are were they called? Was it a particular term that you called people who were pumping the air?
Tiramantici in Italian.
Tiramantici.
In Italian is mantice.
Mantice. And tira is with hands, like the ones who push.
Tira is pull.
To push. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tiramantici.
So
Okay.
That's how you do the wind. Of course, in the modern organ we have also electric blower, so we don't need.
Yes. Also, there was one organ which Professor Claudio Brizi was playing. There were foot paddles also. There was a small, almost like the piano thing with a foot paddle in. I don't know. Which is that kind?
Yes. It's. I think you are speaking about the harmonino.
Oh, I see.
Small harmonium.
So it's not the organs. The one that he was playing was more harmonium kind. Okay, with the reeds, not the pipes, but with the reed.
reeds.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay. But for the organs, they were
Or
always tiramantici or with the electric motor.
Yes.
And it's,
My grandfather, in the very early first part of his life as organ builder, he built pipe organs with pedal like harmonium.
I see. Really?
Yeah, because there was not so many money to buy electric blowers.
I see.
So he decided to take out the pedal board, which was not so important for for the liturgy, for the mass. It was more important to play with the hand to accompany the choir more than to have a pedal board. So we saved the money of the blower, but we put more pipes in.
I see.
That was the guess.
I see. Is there something that still exists? I would love to see one of those.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
I will share with you some picture.
Yeah,
Because,
or you can share one with me too, with the organ also. I'll be glad to have it. I'll be glad to get the old one. I'm just kidding. So this electric motor, to come back to the, so you have in the last image of the
yes,
bellows
you see,
is the
you
motor.
see yes, you see the wind blower that push the wind on the first bellow, which is the lower one, and then with the wind channel that we go up and we feel the two bellows that are under the wind chest. This is the normal bellow, we can say the modern one.
I see.
Because the old one were made like like the pump for the firehouse.
I see.
It's made like yes, exactly like the pump for the firehouse.
I see. I see. Fantastic. And what kind of motor is this? What kind of wind blower is this? Is it?
This is a special blower that is built expressly for organs, because it must be very, very silent.
And what is the decibels
Yes.
that you're looking at? How many decibels do you have a requirement for decibels for the sound, for
the standard blower without any kind of case, it's very, very quiet. Normally it's under 20 decibel. It's very low.
I see.
I don't remember exactly the quantity, but it's very, very quiet.
I see.
But normally we do different things to make it more quiet.
I see.
Virtually, you will not hear the blower. You will hear only the sound of wind.
Right.
Which is not possible to avoid.
Of course, there is wind, so it'll tell that I'm here. Yes.
Yeah.
So now we go to the flue pipes. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Fit.
Absolutely.
Flue pipes.
And we take a big care about the noise that comes from the blower, especially the noise, the most disturbing noise from the blower is the frequency from the current, the 50 hertz.
I see.
Which very often is in conflict with a very important part of the organ sound, which are the bass frequencies.
Yeah.
So if you have this on the ground at 50 hertz or 60 hertz, it depends from the region, you go in conflict with the note G note. Okay, so the lowest G, it starts to sound weak because go in conflict with the frequency of the current. So we found some tricks to avoid this noise.
I see. And which are those tricks?
Easy, very easy. It comes from my experience in high fidelity music.
I
So
see.
you have to this coupling. You have to find a way to make the blower will not touch anything.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's easy. You have to make a flying blower.
Yeah. Exactly.
Lorenzo.
So you use a particular rubber underneath, or what do you use?
It depends from every different situation, but you can use, like in this, you see in this picture, there is a elastic cord. You see that there is in the right on the left of the picture.
Right.
You see there is a rubber cord, a rubber wire, and the blower is suspended. So if you touch, the blower move, and it's collected to the bellow with leather, so it don't transmit any vibration. So the blower is working with no rigid, no solid connection to the structure,
I see.
and that's a very, very good thing, because you don't hear this very low hum that is normally you normally listen in the most of organs.
I see. I see.
So I
Fantastic.
told you a secret.
Yes. Your secret is out, Claudio.
Oops. And now we go to the very, very important part of the job, the flue pipes.
Right.
So in the first two pictures, you see this schematic about the very, I can say this is the birth of the organ, because with this kind of software, I can start making a tonal design of the organ that is in my mind. So in this organ, we started from some well-known measure we have from this old organ in Trevi, in my town, that is 500 years old. And of course, after I took the old measure, I tried to harmonize this in a modern way, because we, of course, in the 16th century, they didn't had so many precise work, so that the scaling of pipes is not so regular. So I start to draw the different stops, and here you can look at the name of every stop. Principale, which is the main prospect. Tava in green, which is the second stop on the first manual. Then 15th, which is the third stop. Then there is a flute,
right,
and so on. All the stop of this organ, and then you can see more in detail. You see there are the notes, and the red line which represent the 0, which is the normal scale we call in organ building. So this normal scale, that means everything and nothing, because there is no normal scale at all. It's a kind of point of reference in diameters. And this organ is a small organ, so all the diameters are quite narrow, because the organ will stay in a very small church. So we don't need a big sound, or we will make all the people running out from the church screaming. So, and in the next picture, you see the rough material we use. These are sheet made of pure lead.
Oh, pure lead.
Because,
I see.
Yes, this is 19.99% lead.
Wow. And lead it's not poisonous. This is like pure, no contamination.
The lead is poisoning if you eat
I see.
and we don't have to.
You know, okay.
Or if you breathe
Yes,
the
exactly.
powder,
Uh-huh.
but we made no powder
I
because
see.
we cut with the cutting machine and we solder.
I see.
But
So
when
there's
we
no,
solder,
you have to wear, yeah.
we have masks and we have a aspiration plant.
Okay.
On the soldering table there is a special fan that
I see. That takes.
throw away the.
Okay. That's amazing.
So
I
in
didn't
this
know. I didn't know that the pipes were made of lead. Actually, pure lead.
The old pipes in the old time, they were made mainly in lead.
I see.
With small percentage of other metals.
I see.
The prospect pipes outside, the one you see in the prospect in the casework, they are made mainly in tin.
I see.
Because they must look like silver.
So
yeah. They must be shiny.
Yeah.
And the tin comes from India or from Thailand.
Yeah.
So they were, and it was really, really expensive. That's why they used to use mainly lead because it was cheaper.
I see.
And more easy to
work with. Yeah, it's more malleable. Yeah, it's soft.
Softer.
So how thick? Yeah.
Thick. You can see in the picture we have metal sheets that start from 1 millimeter. Then you see 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6, and after 0.5, then you start to have also 0.45, 0.40, 0.35, because we need all the different thickness respect to the scaling of the pipes.
And which is the minimum thickness that you use?
Normally, we don't go under 0.3, 0.25, not less, because
you mean you don't use zero? I'm kidding.
No. I would like to, but my pipe maker say he cannot solder it.
He cannot solder. Maybe he cannot catch it also.
Yeah. Oh no. His fingers are like asbestos, it's filled with.
That's amazing. So the next one, then you do the cutting of that. You use a cutting machine, as you mentioned.
Yes, we have a table with a cutting machine, and we do this by hand. There is no chance to do in another way. In fact, the pipes production can seem something industrial, but at the end, it's all made by hand.
Wow.
So everything you see, also if you have to make 5,000 pipes, there is no industrial process.
Right.
Way.
Yeah, it'll be very expensive. Just the R&D to create a machine would be mind-boggling. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to think that the price of material.
Every time it's a different organ.
Of course. No, there are not are two pipes the same.
Yeah.
But you have to think that the price of material at the origin, maybe with a tin, is about 14 euro per kilo.
Right.
Once you reduce it in sheet, the price is doubled.
Wow.
So, very expensive process.
Yeah. So these are all the
table.
Yeah, on the table are 5,000 pipes.
Almost, not all the 500, because here we have only the inside stops.
Oh, I see.
These are the pipes that are on the wind chest and you don't see from outside.
I see.
And these are all made of lead.
I see.
And you see that Attila, which is the pipe maker, is preparing with a red paint
Yeah, no, we're going
And
there.
it's red.
I'm on the second image of the cut pipes, which are beautifully stacked. One on top
Yes.
is almost like a beautiful pattern. I mean, it is a beautiful pattern. And it shows the tower, the lead tower. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So these
That
are how many?
tower.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are 8 lines, is it?
Yes. Yes.
3, 4,
8
5.
lines
5
because
on
we
top
have,
and 3 below.
yes. And we have there are only 8 because one is the prospect, which is in another material.
I see.
Okay. And another one is not on the table because it's the rib stock, which
Oh, I see.
will be cutted later.
I see.
And you will see in another picture.
I see. And this is
So these are all the internal pipes,
Mm-hmm.
flue pipes.
And now we have the gentleman who's. What is he using? What material is being used for coating?
This is a special paint that he know the recipe.
I see.
We
Recipe.
don't know.
Recipe. I see. I see.
Uh-huh. And it is needed because when you solder the pipe, if you want to make a good soldering with a straight line and no bevels or bed, you have to protect the part of metal you don't want to solder. So first you paint the metal, and then with a scrap take out the part of painting and metal that he have to solder.
I see. I see. So this is to protect the rest.
Yes.
Because
Exactly.
lead can react very harshly to anything hot. It can change.
If you don't paint, you can solder, but you will have a very imprecise soldering.
Right. This is amazing.
In the next picture, you see all the feet of the pipes ready to be soldered. So the pipe is made of 3 main parts. There is a body, which is normally cylindrical. Then there is a diaphragm, which is we call the soul of the pipe. In Italian, anima.
Yes.
And then you have the foot. Once you solder all these 3 parts, then you can start working on the mouth of the pipe,
Right.
and start the pipe speaking.
I see. So these are all the first one, and then the second one image after that, there are flat pieces on that. That's the
Prospect pipes.
the prospect pipes. I see. And these are cut, like they are cut spaces, or is basically they are to be turned. They will be made round.
Yeah, this is the when you cut, they are flat, and then you put on the iron tubes and give the shape. And what you see now on the picture, you are looking to the picture
flat on the table,
green,
with the
cloth.
green, with the green cloth. Yeah. The first one,
Okay. The first one. Okay. And then you see the process for the building of the prospect pipes, which are made of 90% tin, 10% lead.
I see.
So we are at the opposite. And this is a very hard material.
Yes.
To work. And we decided to have a special, very special kind of work on this pipe that is named tortiglione in Italian, which means that when you finally the pipe will be closed, you will see like a spiral.
Yes, I see that. Yeah.
all around the pipe.
Yeah.
And it's something that belongs more to jewelry than to organ pipe.
Yeah.
Because you have to work with the tool from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
You see on the table you have the flat.
Is it about
metal.
30 degrees or how many degrees is that?
That's a secret I cannot tell you.
I mean, come on, I can measure it from here. You're talking to the wrong man.
It depends from the style.
The design,
if you want
particular.
to have a very If you want to have a very elegant about, yes, 30 degrees is it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can have also more 45 or 40, but then it go down
very quickly, very quick, yeah.
And it's not so elegant.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like, okay, you want to do something special, but you don't want to waste your time. Okay, so if you do, you have to do right.
Right.
And you see that also there is a scrap on the lower part of the flat piece, which is named metering. You have a very special design that you scrap from the metal, and then it will be the mouth of the pipe. But you have to do before you close the pipe.
Oh, I see.
So you
because you can't do anything afterwards. I see. Fantastic.
No, you can do also later, but without scrapping, the result is much more evanescent. It's not precise. It's not sharp. I mean.
Also, because you don't want to change the thickness of the pipe. Also, no.
Of course.
So you're making an incision, but not eating out the metal.
No.
The thickness remains the same.
Just a trace.
Yes.
That when you apply the metal, it came out and give you very sharp corner. So it's beautiful to see from outside.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And if you look at the image, the second image of the prospect,
we were looking at that.
You see this metering, and you see this spiral, and if you look carefully, you will see that the spirals are not the same.
Yes.
One is clockwise and one is counterclockwise.
Yes.
And of course, there is a reason for that. That belong to the general idea of the organ.
Right.
Because that's something I like to do when I project organs. I mean, putting in the general layout also some metaphysical concepts. So that's something that made me really happy. I don't know why, but I like to do that.
That's nice. That's wonderful. The next image is working with the hand, is fitting.
Yes. This is the process. This is just a sample. You see, it's a very short piece because Attila, before to do all the pipes, prepared a short piece for me to evaluate the quality of this work. So he was making this small piece to show me how three-dimensional could be the embossing on the metal.
Right.
And this is just a test, and you see that with his hand he have to give exactly like a sculpture.
Yes.
So that's why I tell you that making pipes is really something really artisan-like. It's not possible to do this work in any other way.
So he's using a scraper. It's or just leather. He's
wood.
He's using wood. I see.
It's a maple wood, very hard wood. and he made these small sticks of different size to do this work, and with different angle and different sharpness. Depends from the depth and the way you want to make the embossing look like.
Right. So basically, it's the embossing process with the wood only. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yes. You can use the wood or also the metal, but it depends what kind of finishing you want to do to the pipe. Because when you use the metal, it's very easy to make scratches.
Yeah.
But it's not important if you polish the pipe with some tools to make it shiny.
I mean, something like the jewelers, like when we do polishing, we use, the grit is 24,000, 12,000, 24,000 grit also to clean, like the goldsmiths would use sometimes. Do you use those kind of emery papers also with, what's the maximum grit that you use for polishing?
For polishing, but we don't use the sandpaper to clean the pipes.
At all. Okay. Because it will eat anyway. It eats only wood.
Only wood to make this work, and then we polish with the clothes and with some special moisturings.
I see.
But the most of organ builders, they use cloth on the drill machine, a turning machine with the clothes.
Right.
To make it shiny like chrome.
Yes, I can see that in the image now. Yeah.
But the image that you see now, this polishing is not made with machine. It's made by hand.
I saw. Yeah, exactly. That's amazing.
And this
is only wood. This is only wood.
Wood and then
and the cloth.
With clothes.
I see. Fantastic.
And this is the old style. I mean, the traditional way to do the pipes. Sometimes I like to have also matte pipes, so that don't shine.
Right.
So we use steel wool, very very thin.
Yes.
Steel wool, and we made it matte surface.
And the pipes now are finished and kept with a little cut for the.
Yes, with a little cut for the mouth.
So the cut for the mouth, for the reed, almost like that, is again shaped or carved out. How do you do it, or is it?
The mouth you open later with a knife from outside. Inside you prepare just the side.
So it is cut and then soldered. It is it?
Yes. Yeah.
It's almost like slicing, creating the angle, then putting a separate pipe and then soldering it, right?
No. It you take out the material. You don't add nothing. The three pieces is a complete pipe.
I see.
And when you then when you cut the mouth, you take away a part of the metal.
Yeah.
And open the space where the sound will be regulated.
Right. No, I was looking at the shape towards the mouth of it. No, there's a little curve. There's a little shape, like the flute has. So
exactly.
This one is like originally the pipe is all round.
Yes.
Right.
And you press with a tool.
You just press it, so it's not cut out or shaped or soldered.
Can be, but in this case is just press it.
Oh, I see.
Under trace it, and then press it on a very special tool. But of course, you can also solder the mouth. This is more in Germany. German style is more to have a shield, not the meter, but shield, the round shield, and they used to solder. Of course, is a very good process. It's much more expensive because it's very hard to make a soldered mouth.
Right.
But if the customers like, no problem.
I see.
This is typical Italian metering on the mouth. It's 2.5 times of the mouth.
And the soldering, the gentleman is now doing soldering, is it?
Yeah. This is the way he used to solder. And you see that he took away the painting from the surface, from the angle, from the bevel.
Right.
And then after he give the shape, he put 2 points of soldering to keep the piece together. And then in one single line, you have to do a single passage.
Oh, I see.
Because, yes. Because if you do too many times, you make holes. Because the piece became warmer, and every time you go on with the soldering machine, the paint fall out, and then you can throw it in the basket.
I see.
No chance to recover.
Recover it, I see. He has to redo it again.
Yeah, and it's easy, or at least it's more easy to solder such a small piece like foot. But when you have a full-length pipe, like 8-foot pipes, it is 2.5 meters, and you have to make in one straight line on a very, very, very thin material. And for example, the prospect pipes, they are made of 90% tin, so it will melt in nothing. So you must be very, very skillful to do this job. It takes years for a man to learn how to solder pipes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next photo is, go ahead. Finish your sentence. Yeah.
No. The next photo is the wood pipes. And you see that they are made with different woods because you need, for example, the external part of the pipe is most important for the resonance.
Right.
So you use soft wood like pine wood or cypress or cedar wood. We can use different kind of woods. Chestnut also in our tradition is very common. But for some part, it's better to use hardwood, like the mouth. You see, it's made with the chestnut,
right?
Walnut, Italian walnut, and this horizontal piece of wood that is the soul. We say the languid is made with another hard wood that must be very hard, because this kind of part must not be easy to destroy,
right?
Because it's where the sound is generated,
right?
Okay, so this is very important.
This is the soul. We're looking at the soul of the instrument,
of the pipe. And you see that in just a simple thing, which is a wood pipe, is a 4 table of wood, but you need to make very, very precise joint and very precise gluing, because this pipe can last for 500 years. But if you do something wrong, will last for 1 season.
Yes.
Because a big table of pine if they are not worked good, and if you don't do the good joining, the joint between tables, with a little bit of humidity, they will start to crack and explode.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's amazing.
On the next image,
yeah,
you see the biggest pipe for the inside of the organ. And if you look, there are two different colors.
Yes.
You see, the body of the pipe is very dark, and the foot is brighter.
Right.
That's why the upper part is made of lead, and it's very heavy. Mechanically speaking, the lead is not so mechanically resistant. So, if you want to be smart, you have to do the foot of the pipe with tin, with high percentage of tin, and the body in lead. So the pipes will not collapse.
Right.
Okay. This pipe, one of these pipe is almost 20 kilos.
Wow.
And it's just 1.5 meter. So it's not a big pipe, but it's very heavy. Once the pipes are finished, you have to install on the organ.
Yeah, this is amazing. And this like gentleman is standing inside. It's quite big. It's not small.
Yes. This is not big. This is small.
I know. I think Claudio Brizi was mentioning that there was one which is like 3 stories tall. The one that you guys did, that was quite amazing. I saw the video of that.
There are some organs you can sleep in. You can put a bed and sleep inside.
Next time when I come, we have to. I have to steal you. Show me some. I wouldn't mind sleeping one night in an organ.
Okay.
And maybe I'll compose something. Compose something that'll go in history. That I composed something in that organ when I slept that night.
And so you see that they are installing the pipes. They need to be supported on all the perimeter. And this for the prospect pipes, of course. They have hooks on the back.
Right. And this woodwork is coming beautiful. I mean, we didn't have photos of the woodwork part, not the whole process. I know we did very quickly, but it'll be wonderful to see that also. This is looking very beautiful, very beautiful.
Yeah, the woodwork is.
And I can see the keys also are already there. They're quite a lot of, I mean, quite a bit of assembling has already happened.
Yes, this is we can say the 3/4 of the job is completed here. Just the outside must be finished, but and the decoration.
And the next image is with all the pipes inside. It's a close-up of these.
Exactly, and you see there is this table made of poplar, which is very, very soft wood.
Yeah.
And we make holes, and we put also felt inside the hole to preserve the pipes, because the pipes are really, really easy to scratch or to press.
I see.
So we put felt to give the pipe the free of movement without make scratches. And you see the hooks on the back of prospect pipes. You can see the hooks, and this table that keep the pipe straight is named the rack board.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Then we speak briefly about the reed stops.
Yeah.
Which are a different kind of pipes because they don't speak like a flute. So the wind don't excite itself, but they speak because there is a small brass tongue that beat.
I see.
Like in harmonium, but harmonium is a free reed. So
Right.
it means that move freely. These are beating reeds. So there is a shallot made of brass itself, and the tongue beat with the wind because when it closes, the tongue is made like a spring.
I see.
So the wind pressure start to make the tongue beating, but then because she is elastic, go back, and then the wind close again.
I see.
So it starts beating very, very fast.
I see.
And putting a special tool on the pipe that give exact point of tuning. So the pipe will have exactly the number of beating of the frequency.
I see.
And in the picture, you see the shallots with the blocks.
Yeah.
And in the second picture, you see the second part of the reed, which is the resonator. That is simply a amplifying case. It's like the acoustic case for a guitar or for a rebab, for example. So the sound is made by the tongue. The pitch is given by the tongue, and the resonator simply made it louder or softer. It depends from the shape you give. And the reeds are incredibly terminated number of stops.
I see.
You can have in any different shape you want. There are thousands. Just fantasy. You can invent.
Right.
In the past.
And this paint, the paint remains, Claudio, on this, or that is removed after the soldering?
After the stop is finished, you wash it with hot water.
It just
very
goes.
Hot water, and yes.
I see.
Because it's a painting. It's something like the.
Is it water based or animal?
Yes, it's water based.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, but it's not it's very particular painting because it must be easy to wash, but it's also must be very resistant to the hot temperature. So it must be elastic because when you bend the model, when you model
it shouldn't
the
crack.
body,
Just split.
Crack,
yeah. It should not peel off.
It must be sticky because the metal.
So that's the secret recipe, is it? That's the secret recipe.
I know. I don't know how to do it, but I know that every pipe maker have his own recipe.
I see. Amazing.
Because they like, everyone's like to adjust the painting to his own style.
Right. And then we come to the assembling part.
Yes, because once you prepare all the parts, it comes the time that you have to put it together. So you have a base on the floor, a main frame, which give you the exact position of the part, and you start building the case of the organ to support all the parts. In the first picture, you see just the back of the organ and the main molding that is also the support for the wind chest.
Pure carpentry. This is.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
and then you start to put inside all the mechanical parts that you need.
Right.
And in the third picture, you see the wind chest, which have two side support and lay exactly in the position on the same line of the console where the keyboard are.
Right.
So what? And this must be exactly 100%
Right.
because everything must go through, imagine the 1.5 millimeter wire that go through 3-4 holes that are on the same perpendicular. And you have to go through all these holes with no frictions and no mistakes.
Amazing. This is
And so
amazing.
if we go onward, you will see that after the positioning of the main parts, then you start to make connections between the parts. And you see, this is the 1, 2.
The gentleman is putting the
3.
keys now.
Yes, it's connecting the keys.
Uh-huh.
And if you go to the next one, which
The
is a little bit
pedals
like,
are also there.
yes, here you
Amazing.
can see the pedal, and you
Amazing.
see this very,
What a visual
very
delight. This is
high.
amazing. Amazing work. Wow, wow.
It is a very fascinating work.
It's amazing.
That,
Amazing.
but this is, it's like a double sharp knife, because this work is really fascinating and have a very powerful power of fascination to the people. So very often there are young guys that think okay, I want to be an organ builder. So they start from books or simply from experiment
Right.
at home, and they think they can do anything, but it's not so easy. It's a long time
It's not.
to understand all the process and all the technique.
Yeah.
So if you want to be an organ builder, you have to study with an organ builder.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
No doubt about
and
that.
the training is very long, 10 years minimum.
Yeah. No, it is. It's not a joke. It is not a joke.
No.
Tracker action.
And tracker action, that is the part of the organ that give you the chance to make anything moving. So the keyboard, stop action, pedal action, couplers action. So you have mainly these 4 things.
Right.
And here in this first picture, you can see almost all of them.
Right.
You see the 2 keyboards with a roller board on the back that put the transmission from the keyboard to the pallet on the chest. And then you see the 2 lines of stops on the side. And every lever you can see that go outward, then go back, then go outward again, and then open and close the stop. You see in the next picture, you see this transmission, horizontal transmission. So you have to, when you draw the organ, you have to think that inside you have to left the space to do all these things. So if you have a lot of space, maybe it's easy. But when you have a very small space like here, you have to be very careful because it's easy to go out from the...
Yeah.
And the On the third picture, you see the sliders on the chest.
Wow.
And the slider is the one that open and close the stop.
Yeah.
It's a piece of wood with holes made in the same point of the pipes, but when you move it, close and open. And you see that there are no one like another.
Yeah.
So every piece is made by hand to match exactly the travel you need to open and close.
Right. Amazing.
And here, and in the next one, you see always the trackers, the action system for the stop. And now you see also the bellows and the beginning of the wind distribution, which is another important part.
This is
then
amazing.
We see some more details of the actions.
And the next image is with the metal parts also.
Yes, we have the rollerboards are made of iron, and we use to make the wires are made with a modern material, carbon fiber.
Oh, I see.
Which is very, this is a very, very good material because it's resistant to anything, water, humidity, temperature. It doesn't matter to carbon fiber.
Right.
And this is important because, as I told you before, the distance between the pallet and the key must be absolutely stable.
That's true.
So when you use carbon fiber, you know that you are decreasing the chance
you're safe.
that something go wrong.
That's true. Yeah.
And then we have
the gilding part.
Gilding part, yes. We used to make also this kind of work for the. It's a very precious work because it's made exactly with the whole technique. So you have to make the wood part and cover with the chalk. And then you have to make very, very shiny surface. Then you give this red paint, which is called bolo, I think. It's a kind of painting that prepare for the silver or gold foil. And everything must be absolutely like silk. Perfect surface.
Right.
Then you give the mission, which is a painting, a very sticky paint. And at the end, you put the foil on. And then you can decide to have in silver or gold, or silver with a final varnishing on the top, which looks like gold, but not exactly like gold. Which is the one I prefer, because it's not so strong like a real gold.
Right.
And after this very short trip, because we didn't sew a lot of things.
I know.
So it's about 20% of the 8 months process.
Yeah.
We can see the instrument finished.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
See that the color of the case is darker than what we saw before, because it's painted with to match the existing wood. And you see that all the organ is almost the same you see from the beginning in the final sketch.
Right. That's beautiful.
And we can
absolutely beautiful.
Some details. I like to write, for example, all the rights on the organ are made by hand with a
I see.
old style pen with the red capital letter and then with the brown ink. And we don't use any kind of synthetic painting. So all the wood is made with a classic wax.
I see.
You know? Because the
beautiful.
And so that's all.
It's beautiful. The keyboard's looking amazing. The photo is also beautiful. The colors have come, the wood. So you've used, what do you use on top? Like the violinists, the luthier or the luthiers use, or is it something else?
On the keyboard?
On the whole instrument, I mean on the wood, do you use some wax or what do you use?
We use natural wax. Natural wax. Well, first we give the
any oil?
The color. Sometimes also oil, but mainly I prefer wax.
Okay.
Only wax, and then simply finishing with clothes.
I see. Beautiful.
But of course, the oil is very good because give more color. Because penetrate much more.
Yeah.
But you have to be sure that nobody touch, because
true. Yeah.
If they start like this organ is in the middle of the church, so when the organ is on the balcony, maybe it's more protected.
Safer, yeah.
Then you can use also maybe more open wood finishing.
Yeah. These pipe close-ups now are really beautiful. They've come so well. Front photo is really beautiful.
If you like to play with the numbers, you know, you can start looking at this organ and counting and making addiction. It's quite funny. When you will come in Italy, I will tell you more about it.
Of course. Yeah.
And I want to bring you in Noccia.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very, very nice people.
I see.
And this is Opus 450, which is the last one. Not the last one. We made another one this year. It's 51. Now we are 451 organs.
I see. And the tongs looking beautiful now. The ones, amazing work. Fantastic, really. This is number 450. So I think because when I read your thing, must have been an older excerpt of your biography. It had 430 organs. So this is 450th.
Yeah.
This is amazing. The side panels with the... So do you do the calligraphy yourself or with hand or is it laser? The writing now? You did it yourself?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes.
I have to take...
Oh, really? I have my... You don't believe me. I have pens specially made for this.
I see. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Different cut to make more Gothic styles or freehand style. Depending what you want to... I have, I don't know, I lost the number, I think it's 30, 40 different pens.
I see. Well, I have to come in.
It's something
just to
really relaxing.
Yes, it is. It is.
I say it's a form of meditation.
It is, yeah.
To write in a
It's
calligraphy.
beautiful. You got a beautiful hand. Bordone, flauto in otto, Nazardo?
In ottava, Nazzardo in
Nazardo, ottavino, and then terza.
yes.
Whoa, what a
These are
what a
the
journey!
names of the
Fantastic.
name of the stops are related to their height.
Uh-huh.
So the Principale is the biggest stop, which is 8 foot tall.
Right.
So it's 2 meter and 44 about. Ottava is the 8 notes after the principal.
Right.
So it's half of the principal. 15th is the 15th note from the principal. So
Right.
it's 2 foot, So with this, you can go from top. On the left side, you see that there are 2 command.
Yes.
On the right side, only 1. Cordone, flauto, Nazzardo, ottavino, terza. They have only 1 command.
Right.
But if you look on the left, you have 2, because the first manual is splitted in 2 sections.
I see.
So you can have only the lower part of principal and the treble with different voice. And this is typical of Italian and Spanish organ.
I see.
It is some kind of trick that give you, like if you have 1 keyboard more, because you can play with different sound on the same keyboard.
I see.
It's a complication. Technically speaking, it's like in watches. In the watches, when you have more complications, chronograph, and this is a small complication for organ.
Yeah. This is like a musical watch in a way, and a big one.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's amazing. And this one, how many months did it take?
We started in January, and we delivered in July.
I see. So if I have to document, if I have to do a photography and video of one organ that you make, I have to. You will have to host me for what, 5-6 months?
Yes.
You will get bored if
Absolutely.
I came.
No. I can use you as a worker because you have good hands.
Yeah, so I've got very good hands.
You can take some picture. You can make some film, and then you can work a little bit.
Yeah, why not? Actually, that'll be exciting. Why not? I did a violin with my friend Paul Hart. We did 2 violins together, and we made it together. In fact, so maybe we could do something like that.
Why not?
Yeah. So, what is the experience in the sense that do you also like playing the organ? Did you learn how to play it, or because tuning is another part? I mean, tuning the pipe is another story, isn't it?
Yeah, really the process is divided in 2 parts, because when you finish the organ in the workshop, the pipes speaks nothing. So every pipe need to be voiced. This is the correct term. It must be voiced in the church.
I see.
So you have a very long process, which is the voicing of the organ, because every pipe need to be taken.
Because you do that yourself. You do that yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing else. No one else can touch the pipes except me.
I see.
Because this is the final and crucial part of the job. The sound is everything.
Yes.
So a real organ builder don't leave anyone touching the pipes.
I see.
And then when all the pipes speaks good, so the voicing is finished, then you have to tune, which is quite boring, but also very important.
Yes.
Boring because when you have 5,000 pipes and you have to tune all of them, it takes weeks.
Really? Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. How much time, I mean, to tune this, for example, that you've installed, 5,814 pipes, how much time did it take?
I can tune an organ like this in half day.
Really? But the first time when you do, it's longer, no?
Yes. The first time, because first time the pipes are longer, you have to cut them with a knife. So it takes a lot of time just because you need to cut. But once the organ is tuned, if you do the normal service, it takes a few hours.
I see.
It's not a long process. You can do by ear, and you can do with special tools, also special software to have a very, very precise tuning. But it's much quicker than in the past.
Right.
And of course,
yeah.
Of course, is a matter of experience. When you are a beginner, it takes 2 hours to tune one rank. Once your ear is trained and your hand know how to, then you can do a full rank in 15 minutes.
Right. In terms of organ, the tuning, the instruments that were made, let's say 5 centuries ago, some of the ones that you've restored 4 centuries, 5 centuries ago, what are the tuning systems they use? It's 415 or what tuning do they still use that tuning now, or they've changed it?
The pitch of the organ had very, very wide casuistics, because you can find the organ, Renaissance organ at 390.
I see.
Or also, for example, the organ in Trevi, which is 1509, so it's very old. The original pitch was 440. Like in the modern instrument.
Really?
Yes.
440, 5 centuries ago. Wow.
Yeah, 440. But at the same time, in Rome, you can find 460. Or so the pitch mainly depend on the literature played in some region. So. In Venice, in San Marco, they have one pitch. In Rome, they had another pitch.
I see.
It was more a question of taste.
Their own, yes. Every place had their own. It's like every grand maestro would have their own note. Even now, somebody sings from C sharp, from D sharp. If you go back, people sang from E, some from F.
Absolutely.
I see.
So we had everything. We found everything. Normally, the most common in my area for the 16th, 17th century and also part of 18th century, the pitch was 415 around.
I see.
But they have no exact way to measure. So we say 415 hertz. They don't know what an hertz is.
Yes.
So it was something related to reference bells or diapason, but they just figure out that this is almost half tone lower, but everything is relative, you know.
Right.
we call it mean tone, but they don't call me. They say, okay, we tune with perfect fifth.
I see.
And they do perfect fifth for the first five, and then they adjust the rest. So everything was made by ears. So thinking that ancient people do the things perfect because they are skilled, but just by experience or by tradition. Today we have a lot of instruments, exact instruments, but we don't know for how to use it or for what to use, because very often there is no special request.
Yeah. And that is the frequency, for example. And of course, Mirko Patanini has made one accordion of 415 for Gabriele Giorgio della Role, is it? That has been specially tuned as well to 415, I think 415. And
Yes,
in terms of tuning, that's the one. But in terms of the tuning of the octave, did the old organs have different tuning systems, or do they use the same piano style now?
No. The equal temperament. We know for sure that they know, but they know since the time of Pythagoras, not now.
Yeah.
But they prefer to tune with the system, unequal system, with very, very exact fifth and thirds.
I see.
Especially, the mean tone is the most popular, which is very beautiful it's absolutely beautiful for the major chords.
Yeah.
But of course, there are notes you cannot touch because they are really, really awful. The fifth of wolf, they call it, because when you play these two notes, they are so out of tune that looks like a wolf singing.
I see.
So they studied different system with splitted keys. So you have two sharp keys to make the B flat or D sharp.
I see.
You see, so the organ can become really complicated, because for every split of the key, you need one channel and one more
separate
pipe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Separate pipe. So you can have an organ which is almost perfect in tuning, but you need a spider to play on, because it's very difficult. Yes. Also, the very best players, when they play on such kind of instruments, sometimes get in fault, because it's very hard to and it's not so common. So you cannot practice in every instrument this kind of keyboard. They are crazy.
Right.
Beautiful to see and beautiful to listen, because mean tone is, I think, absolutely the most beautiful sound you can listen in an organ. Yeah. But of course, it's related to very old music and very small chords.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic, right? Compliments really to you. Maybe, if possible, as a second part of this, will be great. I mean, you have a collection of old instruments as well, and you photograph. It will be great to just have an idea, or to show different organs, and you tell us, you telling us, giving like a tour of different instruments. We can do if you've done some photo mapping, it'll be great. Maybe we can put together a PDF like this and a presentation, and you can tell us about the history of the instruments and what was unique when you went to tune them, or when you've restored, what was the experience.
Okay.
I think it'll be great to have a look at that as well.
I'll be glad to.
Yes. And thank you so much for taking time, of course. But what is it for you? I mean, you were to come back. To begin when you were like 15 years old, and with your father Guido. And what was it like? And what attracted you to organ building? Was it just your love for your dad, or you fell in love with the organs?
The beginning, it was a test, because, of course, I was born in the family, and every summer, when the school were closed, I was a child, and I was down in we had the workshop was exactly under the house. So I simply make the stair and go in the workshop and start playing with the wood and make small things, simple things. So it was funny to me. Then, of course, you grow in this kind of how can I say this? It's something that you learn to
the
love
environment, the ambience, yes.
Yes, the ambience. And then when my father said, okay, what do you want to do? You want to study or you want to work? It was a very easy decision to me, because I love to use my brain for something that I can touch. I like to study, I like to read books, I like to make a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I have to see that something is grown in my hand, not only in my head. So projecting things from inside to outside, that's what I like. And organ building is absolutely, I think, one of the most beautiful work in the world to do this.
It is. I mean, it's eye-watering, actually, the precision that goes into it, and it's multi. It's like, I mean, even a taus, for example. I don't know if I can try and show you something that I have done here. What can I show you? I can show you the peacock as well. Let me see if I can get it for you. Let us see if I can show you. So this is, for example, the peacock. Let me get my headphones up. This is called a taus in Persian. It has got its own feet, right? And it stands on its legs. So the idea that, I mean, yours is, of course, it's a machine, but it's got metal, right? This is pure silver, half kilo silver. Pure silver, huh?
Wow.
And it's a metal string, then there's a gut string, then there is animal product from the bone. It's the guide, so it remains on the top, for example, like this. So the keys, ebony, and so on and so forth, just to have, there's a bow instrument, the largest bow instrument which is there, and this is the instrument this is my handcraft, by the way. and the instrument had died. It had died. Now it's standing on its feet, by the way. It's, I don't know if I can show. It's standing on its feet without anything, without any support. Just to, I mean, the idea, the point I wanted to show and share with you, and of course with our listeners today, and who will listen to us, our conversation in the future, that an instrument is a confluence, is a place, is a point of convergence, if I may. It's a sangam, as we would say in Indian. To use an Indian expression, is a convergence of multiple disciplines. Metal is used, wood is used, leather, for example, you use, that's an animal product. You use glues, for example, often come from animal hide or animal skin, or pigments, for example, that we use. Then the tools, the metal, also comes in. So the idea of tool making, which are sort of specific to a particular instrument, like the tools that you would be using, the tools that when I revive this instrument Taos, when an instrument becomes extinct, its tools die, the knowledge of making the tools die, the knowledge of using the tools die, the knowledge of making the instrument die, the knowledge of playing the instrument die, and the intangible, the repertoire, the music that was played specific to the instrument, that also dies. So as a revivalist and as a conservator, when I'm reviving and when I ended up recovering and reviving this instrument, all of these things had to be recovered, the ecosystem. You cannot pick up one thing, like you cannot just take an organ and put it together. It's a showpiece. You need to have, for example, the fact that when you mention about, the Renzo's, the family, that they are coming. Fedeli family, Renzo, who your grandfather studied with and worked with, but the Fedeli family coming from from the 17th century, it's the ecosystem, the entire ecosystem that you have to be associated with. What you were mentioning, that you need 8-10 years of apprenticeship, because so much is coming together, and then the tuning. The voicing and the tuning of instruments and so on and so forth. So it's extraordinary. To have all of these kinds of knowledge streams converge at one place, and they form here. For example, it's a Taos. When I had to recover the bow, for example, I could not find the bow maker. I found the last luthier, Gyani Harbhajan Singh. He made this instrument until 1949. Nobody else has. People are making look-alikes. After I recovered, it became a fashion, and even if they've never studied, they're making it. And people have become millionaires, making and selling them and trading in them. But they have not studied the actual making of the instrument. And people who are teaching they have never even studied the history of the instrument, of how it was traditionally, played. The bow maker I could not find. But I had the memory to work with of my granduncles and my teachers, because they played the bow when they were in their 20s, 15s, and in their 10s, when they were 9, 10, when they began, and until the 20s and 25, 30, when the instrument suddenly, they stopped using it. Life changed and so on and so forth. But I had the memory of what was the shape of that. So I worked with Nicola Galliena, the Baroque era, who's a bow maker, architaio, who from Milan, who specializes in bows from the Baroque era, bow making. So eventually I was led to him, and Alessandro Urso, the lutaio from Bologna, he introduced me to him many 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And then I went to Milan, I designed a new bow on the basis of the memory that was brought to me, ergonomically designed, and the bows were made, therefore. So recovery of, these have happened. So for me to see your work, the fact that it's something that comes from the 17th century, unbroken knowledge, it's very moving. It's very promising in a way. It's very encouraging, and sometimes you feel not alone, that I'm not the only person, that there are other knowledge streams. We are like the pillars of civilizations, of histories, and experience, harvest. It's very moving, actually. So for you, if I may come, what is it now? What is it for you, the organ? How do you see the instrument? What is it that still attracts you? And you doing calligraphy, that's a very intimate relationship with you're like signing, it's like signatures, your signatures on the instrument. It's your soul, like anima, no? It's like the instrument is a soul.
Yeah.
For me, I do calligraphy too. And for me, it's a soul. One's his own. You're pouring your own heart in it.
Yes. For me, the actual organ building is it's a real challenge, because in my work there are several possibilities. You can decide if you like to be in the mainstream of building a modern organ, which are almost copies of the old ones, or you can choose to be more brave and try to find something that sound as you like. Thinking to, I don't know, maybe to one special repertoire or to anyone. Simply try to give a sound which is pleasant for the people, and that can inspire the musician to maybe to play something new. We suffer really in modern time of lack of new music for organ.
I see.
Because there are very few composers.
Oh,
and that's strange, because the organ probably is one of the least, or very least, instrument which is not historicized. So if you want to make a copy, you can do. But if you want to invent something new, you can do as well. So why be so close to a special, you think organ music, Bach, of course. But after Bach, we had dozens of beautiful music composers for organ, until we reached to the very high level of Messiaen, or modern, also more modern. I love intimate music for organ, for example. So we need more brave composers and also more brave organ builders that try to bring the organ one step forward than the neo-baroque or neoclassic or neo-romantic, because we always turn around the same things. So I'm not a big organ builder. I used to make also with my father big organs, but my size is the medium to 3 keyboards maximum organ, because I think this is my election range. But I think we have a lot of things to study on and to carry on for new possible instruments with new ideas to give the actual shape to the organ building. I know that in the world there are many good organ builders that do that. I would like to do the same also in Italy, where it's a little bit more closer to the tradition, which is important. Tradition is fundamental, but you know, the word tradition, that means carry on from the past to the present. But if you carry on something from past to present, then you have to add your own stuff on this moving wheel, this moving machine. Otherwise, it's a death tradition. Tradition doesn't mean fix. It means something that you bring from the past to the future. So everyone has to do his own work and add one piece to the tradition. That's my idea.
And I'm trying to show also this fantastic image of, you know, let me crop it, maybe I should. The hybrid instrument that you made with harpsichord and the organ together. I mean, tell us about that instrument. We'll come to the conversation again, but tell me about that. How did that come along?
That came out because Maestro Brizi one day told me he would like to have a small and transportable organ, which is something quite common. We call box organ. You can put in the car and go for the concert.
I see.
But during the process, he started to think, but you know, I'm also bought a new harpsichord from Baruchieri, which is at that time the #1 harpsichord maker in Italy. We can say decade, the oldest one. And so why we don't think to make something very strange, because we know about Claviorgans because there are some left in the museums. But of course, Brizi is not a normal people. So he will not only have a Claviorgan, but he will love to have the biggest Claviorgan ever built. So we started from three stops box organ, and we finished with this incredible instruments, which is an orchestra at all. And believe me, was a very exciting process to bring back to life something that was only just a rough idea in the museum, because the old ones restored or almost playable was very few and with not so good sound.
I see.
So this was a modern Claviorgan that didn't respect any of the rules of the old ones.
I see.
And the result, as you see with the Claudio conversation, is something absolutely new. And give the chance to give a new read to a lot of music of the old time and also the modern time. So it was a challenge, a very hard challenge, because it was not so easy to make just the design of this. But we liked the challenge, so it was also funny, and you know, I say it was a time of funny and desperation, because it was also very, very, very hard to carry out the instrument working fine. Thanks also to Claudio Brizi, which is also a very good worker with hand, not only playing but also working with hand. So
I see.
it was a big experience. But we had the chance to do all the things like this, like the pedal piano, which is another joining between two pianos played by hand and by foot.
Right.
So then someone also asked me for a wind organ that I built 1 year ago. I sent you the picture, I think. These pipes on the mountain that speak with the natural wind.
I see.
So not a classic organ, but a real challenge to use the real wind to make pipe speaking, which was, I think, not tried before.
I see.
In this way.
I'm showing the instrument image that you sent me first of the, you know, the pedal piano that was done. Yeah. You sent that photo to me. I'm just showing that right now in case.
Yeah. This also was an historic instrument because we know for sure that Charles Gounod had one, or also Chopin probably had the chance to play Erard pedal piano. So historically, we know that instruments were invented, but then they lost interest because they were very hard to move,
right?
Very hard to maintain, to service, because they need to be tuned very often. So it was there was a full repertoire for these instruments that cannot be played at all, like Alcan piano study, or Charles Gounod itself. He wrote some piece for pedal piano. And so thanks to Roberto Proceda, which asked me to invent something to use standard. So not to build, I'm not a piano maker, so I couldn't build a double piano for him.
Right.
But he told me that try to invent something to put two coda pianos together, two grand piano together, so that I can play the lower with the foot and the upper with the hand.
I see.
So I tried to invent this system that can be used with almost any grand piano. So you don't need to buy a special one. The price of two grand piano is 200,000 euro, 300,000 euro.
Right.
But you have to own your own.
Yes.
So it's very expensive. My system is much more compact to travel, and you can bring in a concert hall where you always find at least two pianos, two grand pianos.
Yeah.
And with my system, you can take these two pianos and transform in a pedal piano.
Oh, I see.
With a very, very cheap price, cheaper than any other pedal piano properly built.
See. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm showing. Okay, let me show that first. Okay, let me close this and show this one. Something slow here. Yeah, here is the pedal piano. So this one, you can just take the normal piano and that's it, is it? The one that you did with Roberto Proceda and others. So the one below is the one that you've made, and I can see that the other piano is on top. The feet are on top. You've created a particular stand on that side,
Yes.
and
so
it's raised a bit.
You have to take out the legs from the lower piano.
Okay.
And the lower piano sit on a basement.
Right.
That I built.
Okay.
And where you have a very particular system to push on the keys.
Mm-hmm.
That it's very, very sensitive and very dynamic.
Right.
And the second piano, you have to change the back leg. Mm-hmm. You see that there is a very long leg on the back.
Right, right.
That we built thanks to Mr. Fazioli, mm-hmm. because he have the right knowledge to build this leg, because the piano is very heavy.
Right.
So it must be a huge bridge leg. But when you travel with your own pieces, you simply have to take a normal grand piano and take out the leg, and you can use with your foot.
Right. And then I was showing also the wind thing. It's amazing.
Wind
the
organ.
Beautiful photo of the sky wind organ. So how does this work actually?
Very simple, because there are 3 different group of pipes with 7 notes each one that are oriented to north, south, and southwest. So it depends from the direction of the wind. It can play one or another or 2 together at least. And it's just the most simple thing you can imagine, because there are some kind of wind mouth where the wind arrives and is collected and pushed inside to the pipe. But there is no any kind of aid to this.
Right.
In this case, the challenge was to use the wind, which can be very, very low pressure wind. So the challenge was to make these very big pipes speaking also with a very, very light wind.
Amazing.
Otherwise, no one can listen if there is a normal wind.
Right.
With strong wind, it's easy, but you have strong wind 2 times in a month.
That's true.
But this system work also with a very light wind, with a 6 or 7 knots.
Wow.
It's sufficient.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very nice thing, and the place is really, really fascinating to me, because it's some kind of natural projection to the valley. And it's a very, very, very exciting place.
Right.
Full of energy.
Absolutely fantastic. This is... Oops. I've gotten the video back again. But where is this installed, by the way? The wind one?
It's the town is Cairano, which is a very small town in near Avellino, Irpinia region.
Okay.
Near your wife birthplace.
Napoli.
Yes, it's a little bit more south, but
Okay. There's a lot of wind.
from,
There's plenty of sea wind, the Mediterranean wind.
yeah.
There's a lot of wind. I see.
This is in the middle of a very big valley.
I see.
So it's a rock that looks like the very end of a ship that go through this valley. So it's a perfect place for the wind.
Yeah, that's true. Would love to. We have to. I want to go and document this as well. Yeah. And to come back to when I was asking to more on an intimate space before. I mean, just to conclude. I got busy looking at the images, searching them, and then opening up Photoshop, editing. So I was doing this while you were talking. So you did not have me 100% present in the last few minutes as preparing the images. So I had asked you about your own intimate relationship with your own relationship with the idea of organ building. And the reason I wanted to show everyone your other ventures, your collaborations with Professor Claudio Brizi, and then of course Roberto Proceda and others that you've worked with, that you are not just sort of fixated only in organ building, but you have looked at hybrids, you've looked at newer, for example, use of material. You're also in, researching. You use carbon fiber, for example. You're trying to find solutions which are, in a way, which only our times have provided us. I mean, they were not there 4 centuries ago. If carbon fiber existed, I'm sure people would have used it then. They were using what was available in that time. They were not living in the Stone Age only. They were living in the modern age. At that time, that was the modern age. How do you see organ building now compared to other luthiers, other instruments like piano making? And there are many people, harpsichord and others. I was in touch with a couple of makers in the north near Turin. In fact, I had to go there, but then the lockdown happened. How do you see organ building? I mean, your relationship with this instrument?
Probably the organ building is could be the more dynamic of this instrument, because it can change and you can find not only solution but also different directions respect to a piano or a violin, which are almost solicized instruments. But something is changing also in this instrument, because in lutherie as well as in piano building, they start also to use new materials and gain very, very big difference in sound respect to traditional model. So I think almost any instrument maker should try to improve his own instrument. But of course, the organ is the only instrument which is always different from another. So you will not find 2 organs the same in the world.
I see.
Of course, except the ones that are built by the same builder for one purpose. Like in the same church, you want 2 organs, one on the left and one on the right, and you make exactly the same.
Right.
But it's a very rare occasion.
I see.
So organ is always different. So you are free to move in so many directions that of course involve the architectural side, because you can make a very modern organ with a crazy case, like for example the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles. There is this organ that looks like an earthquake. So the pipes are all fell down one on another. So it's crazy to build, crazy to think. So you can be innovative in the stop list. You can imagine new stop or new system that can help you to make the organ more expressive. We have so many things to think at that we will never stop renewing our instrument.
Right.
Of course, technology can help, but sometimes technology try to impose is domination over on our job, because I can accept, for example, to have a digital transmission between the key and the pipes. This is a chance. In the very large auditoriums or big churches, it's normal to have the console, the keyboards near the priest or near the public, and the pipes hang it to the wall. But if you tell me, okay, can we use digital sound or recorded sound to make an organ? I say no.
I see.
Because if you take out the pipes, there is no organ left.
Yeah. That's true.
Because
it's just a keyboard.
Yeah, it's just a conventional furniture for the house.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a typewriter or a computer. Of course, you can use it, but it's not an art.
It is not.
You know, to build something industrial is not an art. So my feeling is that I will continue to do this work until I can do in this way.
Yes, continue.
No, so it's what mattered to me is that every instrument must be exactly the exposition of the organ builder soul. So when you listen to one of my organ, you have to close your eyes and say, "Oh, that sounds like a Pinchi."
I see.
Okay, if you cannot recognize, so I failed my mission. And that's a big challenge, the biggest.
Yes. There are a couple of, there was one I was about to ask you, but talking of that sounds like a Pinchi, is it because of the metal and the materials you use, or all the organs that were all made of lead, or they were using other materials? You mentioned about tin that was used long time ago, centuries ago. There must be there are other organ builders in the world, or restorers. Do they use other materials that gives them the characteristic? What makes the organ the sound of a Pinchi? Or the characteristic of what your brand is?
It's finally, in one word, it's your taste. There is no secret. You know, I can, if you have time, I can teach you from the beginning to the end of the process in 10 years, or if you are a very skilled man, in 5 years, 6 years, I can tell you anything I know. That it's not all, it's a part of the whole. And I can give you the key to produce an organ. But at the end, what will make the difference is what you will put in the organ from your personal taste. You know, you can read, there is a famous book in organ building that was written in the 18th century from a French friar. Is the Heart of the Facteur Dog, the Don Bedot de Sel. It's a big book with a beautiful and exact, real, precise scales and tables, and show you exactly how to build an organ. You can read the whole book, but you will not be an organ builder at all.
Yeah.
Until you will not start to understand all the process that cannot be written in a book. Because every single pipe you take in your hand, you have half and half the chance to make it speak good or bad. And you have to repeat this process for thousands of times. And at the end, all these thousands of pipes, they must speak in a coherent way, in a perfect relation one with each others, and every rank with the relative ranks. So it's a big game where the variables are endless. So where is the secret? There is no secret. It's like to pretend to be Caravaggio, simply studying on a book of how to draw or how to paint. Technique is important. Ability with the hand is important. But at the end, the difference between a normal organ and a piece of art is what the organ builder can put of special in this organ. So if today we have organs that survived for 4th century, it means they were beautiful organ, because the most common is that when an organ is not good, they destroy and make a new one.
Yeah.
So we lost thousands, millions of organs since the beginning to the present day. But we know for sure that very few of them that we lost maybe were not so good. The good ones we have.
Yeah.
So it means that a piece of art will last for 5 centuries. But not all are pieces of art.
Yeah.
In the past as in the present. So we can only hope that our job is well done and we put something more, something special that will give to our instruments the chance to survive for 2 centuries, 3 centuries.
For me now, the reason why my interest in the organ has evolved and grown exponentially is I see a possibility. For example, even if I looked at the harpsichord, for example, clavichord for me is very exciting because I can tune, right? Cheslav and I, when we were working, we were tuning it to it's a string. It's like tuning the taus, as I showed you, like a rabab or anything. But for example, here, the piano, of course, if I can tune, like we have a very dear young prodigy, Utsav Lal, he's playing, he's worked with the piano, he did a recording with the piano. I think one gentleman has created that you can tune the piano to different tunes. It's something that you do. And of course, as we used to do with the taus also, you place a spacer, a little lift, change the chord because the length of the string is changed. You can also change if it's tuned on the piano, you can just change a slider, which is the bridge. You change the bridge length and you have a different tuning. But in the pipe, because you've got such a machinery with the levers, you can place which pipe to bring here. If I've got like a different scale, it's possible to have with multiple levers, it's like tuning the pipes. If I've got Rag Shri, I could have a different set of 7 notes with a Bhairon, with a Todi, with a Gujri, and so on and so forth. Like one could actually tune different pipes at the same time, that if I were to play one raga, let's say, let's see, if I were to open up my drone, let's say, my voice is all dead, but anyway, just to give you an idea, so it's on D, right? So re, sa. So if I could have one tune to re, listen. Sa ni do ma ni re pa pa ma ga pa ma ni re ni do pa re ga ma pa da pa re sa. So with the one, you could tune a set of pipes with this, and then I've seen Claudio Brizi just change a lever, press a lever, like the accordion guys just punch, with that. But of course, accordion is a different ball game. You have fixed reeds. But here, you just have to add the number of pipes. But at the same time, I see the possibility. That's something which I would want to work with you, is to imagine an instrument. Maybe it takes us 1, 2, 3 years to create that idea on paper, and then to begin a project. Maybe in India we can build an organ which can play maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different raga scales. It could be then a different one. For example, re sa dha ni sa re ga re sa dha ni pa da ni sa re ga ma pa ga re sa re ga ma pa da pa ga re sa re ni sa dha ni sa re ga re sa. Different second, right? It's a flat second, it's different. So na re re na re re na te tara na re de da na pa ma ma da ga re sa. For example, the idea is to have to have even a more rare, it's a rarer idea. I re ga, it's little flat third, huh? I re ga ma pa ma ga re sa da pa da ni sa re ga ma re sa. But then ni re ga ma ga re sa re ga ma re ni re ga ma pa ma ga re sa. Subtle changes, but the idea that at one time one could actually change with the kind of machinery, it needs a machine, right? It's like I'm like a machine changing from one scale to another, but it took years to make, right? To become an organ builder, it needs at least 10 years. You need at least 10, 14 years to be able to render what I'm doing, maybe more. Maybe there are smarter people out there to first know about this idea that different scales are there, and that as one vocal cord can actually emulate different raga systems. But I see that possibility. Where I was like very excited to talk to you about was this, that maybe it's possible with the kind of, you're working with this organ is 5,000 814 pipes. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's beautiful. Ridiculous in the great sense. It's mind-boggling. It's fantastic. And this is not even the largest. It's one of the smaller organs. It's not one of the larger organs. You can have many more pipes. Do you think something like that is possible? At one time, with the change of liver, you have the air is being diverted through different pipes, pipes tuned to, let's say, Rag Todi. You change a liver, you say, with your beautiful calligraphy, you say, okay, here is Rag Bhairav. So press the lever, and suddenly the wind is being, the air is being directed through pipes which are tuned to a dawn, sunrise raga. Suddenly with another lever, you're in the sunset. Another raga, you're in the afternoon, right? Do you think something like that could be possible?
Like any other thing, is possible, because there is nothing impossible, at least if you don't want something that exceed from the physical limit of the pipe. Normally, a pipe is made to speak to a precise pressure and to a precise pitch. So the relation between diameters and the length of the pipe, it's quite tight. So
I see.
If you have a C pipe, with the same diameter, you can reach a D or D sharp.
Yeah, that's within that. So yeah, that's what it requires. Yeah.
But of course, we are talking about something that have a dynamic system for the wind. So you must work with the wind to avoid to permit to a pipe to have so big excursion. So it's something that needs to be studied, but not impossible, I think.
Right. Yeah. And it's, it's like, for example, C can be, one tone, two tones lower C, as many tones, little higher, sharper. The C sharp, few tones, few grades lower and higher. So that's the tuning. That's it. I mean, that can be achieved. Yeah. You can have multiple pipes for let's say you have for each note, you can have multiple pipes, is it?
No. You don't need multiple pipes, because
I see.
Multiple pipes, if you put different we say so, 3 pipes with different tuning, when you switch from one to another, you have a dead time. So you cannot use this dynamically. You can do fixed. You play this note in this way, and then you push, or you push a pedal and it goes out. But you always have fixed notes at different pitch.
Yes.
What I mean is that if you work on the wind, you can have the same dynamic movement you have in your music, also with the pipe of the organ. So you don't have a break between one note and another. You have a note that modulate, that you can change the modulation on the go, while you are playing.
I see.
If you want to understand better what I mean, you have to look, for example, to the medieval portative organs, where you have the bellows is handed moved. So they push with the hand and they play with the other hand, and they can do this kind of modulation on every single pipe. So you can give expression, modulation, almost like an harmonium. But the difference is that the pipe don't have the same easy to go from a very, very soft sound to a strong one, like free reeds. but you can build pipes that have a very big excursion, so you can
Yeah, no,
do
we'll
this
work on it.
kind of
We'll
work.
work on it. Yeah, I think there is some possibility in terms of creating an organ, but which could do multiple ragas, in one go. Perfect. Thank you so much. Anything else that you would like to share with us? Which is the most exciting organ that you have seen so far? The one that you say, woo, something, questo
One organ
meraviglioso così.
that really impressed me was the Aeolian Skinner in the Mormon Tabernacle in Utah, in Salt Lake City.
Oh, really?
Yes, but not only because it's probably the third or fourth biggest organ in the world, but because the front pipes, that is a 32-foot pipe, so it's 11-meter pipe. Okay, when you look from the bottom of the church, it looks like a normal pipe made with metal and gilded with gold paint. But more you get close and you look at these pipes, you say, there is something strange. And when you go under the pipe, you realize that all the prospect pipes are made in wood.
Wow.
It's a half-meter pipe that it was built with a piece of wood like a barrel, and then worked one by one until they reach 11-meter pipes, perfectly round.
Wow.
And this really impressed me.
That's fantastic. I see.
Something really crazy that I will not try to do in my life.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So who made that? Who built it?
The name of the company was Aeolian Skinner in America. It's an American organ builder, geniusly organ builder. He made wonderful instruments for symphonic repertoire with every stop is always as close to the original, is an imitation of the original instrument. So if you look at the stop tablet and you read the name, it's a clarinet. It sounds like a clarinet,
Really?
but it's made with flue pipes. So it's, I think, one of the most geniusly organ builder
I see.
of the past.
I see.
Yes, we're speaking about 19th century, but interesting. Beautiful sound and a very wide range of colors. Instruments that really, really shock when you are in front. Say, oh.
Do they still make? Does that company still makes, or they're long gone?
No. I think they closed several years ago.
I see.
But it was a big company.
And in Europe, who are the finest makers now, apart from you? What you're doing?
There are several big ones that make absolutely wonderful instruments. The biggest Kleis in Munich, Monaco, I think. Kleis or Rieger. There are several big organ builders. But one I like very much in Germany because it's almost my same feeling in the mean of the kind of work he do is Gerhard Wöhle, who made real piece of art in my opinion.
I see.
For the big organs. Geniusly and very, very skilled in craftsman. But we have a lot of very, very good organ builders in the world.
Fantastic.
We are lucky.
Yes, yeah. Wonderful. So I have a few comments. Of course, there's one actor and theatre actor and director, Ramanjeet, who says, she's complimenting, says, well said, Claudio Pinchi. Tradition should be dynamic and not static. You take from the past and add a piece of your own and take it forward. She's quoting you. And yes, tradition should be a living thing that grows with time and takes a new life of its own. I mean, my thought is that tradition is like a parent, you know, there's nothing else. Tradition is like if you look at me and you look at my mother or my father, you would see some similarity. And that's tradition. But then I am me. I have a different name. Maybe the voice timbre would be similar, like my voice would be similar to my grandfather's. So there's that. So tradition is only as much. It's that connection with history is tradition. Tradition is not a burden. It's the present. I mean, without the tradition, without history, without genealogy, I wouldn't be there. Without my parents, I wouldn't be there. So as long as you honor as much, that's tradition for me. It is not a binding, it is freedom. Like I have the freedom to pick up my cup, have a nice sip of water, good water, and that's tradition. I mean, it gives me the freedom. But to pick the glass may have been taught to me by my mother, maybe by my father, I don't know. Who was it that I saw picking up the glass first in my life after I was born? Right, I might have noted it. Oh, there's something. What do they do? What is in it? There's something. I didn't know it was a glass. I didn't know what was the content in it. I didn't know what it was to drink it until I drank it first. I was made to drink. So that's tradition. The art of picking up a glass or using the glass the way it is. But I'm doing it. I don't even remember who did it. I think that's where it's very, very ethereal. The idea is actually not a monstrous idea. People make it as a tradition is a monster kind of a thing. Tradition is a burden. Tradition is being fixated. Tradition is being limited. Tradition is being sort of limited. And tradition means you're not creative. Tradition means you're not fertile. You're not exciting. You're not futuristic. You're not modern. These are all bogus ideas. Without tradition, tradition is like the language I speak. The entire history of the way the language has evolved, I'm speaking in English. I mean, where does this language come from what I'm speaking? How is an Indian, ruthlessly authentic Indic soil, as in me, speaking this language which is not of my own, but I speak as if it's my own, I'm thinking in it. That's tradition. That's my relationship with tradition. And I'm talking to an Italian maestro, organ builder, and his mother tongue is Italian, but here we are speaking in English, which is neither my mother tongue, neither his mother or father tongue. That's tradition in a way. The tradition bigger is, tradition in itself is the art of communication, the way that I'm communicating and he's communicating with me. So absolutely right, Ramanjeet. Tradition should be a living thing. I mean, it is a living thing. And it grows with time. I think it just lives in time. I wouldn't say it grows with time, because what was in the hands of we're talking of 1509. 1509 was Gurū Nānak. If Gurū Nānak is singing, let me take you back. For example, रुत आइले सरस बसंत माहे. My voice is dead. रुत आईले सरस बसंत माहे रंग राते रवस तेरे चाहे किस पूज चढ़ावो लगाओ पाए तेरा दासन दासा कहो राए तेरा दासन दासा. Just to give an idea, this is a composition from around 1500, 1510, 1512 by Gurū Nanak's original, right? Tradition is not something, this is tradition, like this original composition of Gurū Nanak, to whom this entire, the season 1 is dedicated, his 550th birth anniversary. He was born in 1469. It lives in me. It's his song. I don't know, I have never heard him sing, but it's been carried. My ancestor was his direct disciple. He studied from him directly. This is what tradition is. Tradition is me as the embodiment of that knowledge stream. Tradition, you see, is Claudio Pinchi. That's tradition. But it's us, that tradition living today. Tradition as of today. Tradition that has a root in the past, that has a memory, unbroken line of knowledge streams that has come down the ages. As my grandmother would say, son, you know that you belong to perhaps the most persecuted community in history, that there were prices put on you, the Sikhs, by the Mughals and others, and that your ancestors lived through it. Never forget the journey this knowledge has taken to reach you. Now that's tradition. Tradition is something, is a harvest, from times ago which has reached me. That is tradition. But tradition is also my romance with that knowledge. My tasting of that knowledge, my joy, the ecstasy, the emotional, the spiritual orgasm that I am able to derive from it, the intoxication that I am able to derive from it, and then the procreation of newer things. Compositions that come out of the blue, for example. जुद के जदैया रंग जुद के जदैया रंग भूम के भवैया जुद के जदैया रंग जुद के. It's a very war-like composition. I was sitting at the International Institute of South Asian Studies in Rome, 2015, I think, hosted by Dr. Tiziana Lorenzetti, who did that E-Sikh, the exhibition to mark the Great War, the First World War, the contribution of the Sikh armies to liberate Italy. I'm sitting there with Parminder and others, and suddenly I started singing. जुद के जदैया रंग जुद के जदैया रंग भूम के भवैया भर भूम के मिटैया नाद दीन लोक गाय जुद के. For example, now if I were not to tell you that this is my composition, and I did the experiment, I sang this to some of the elders. They said, oh, this is a very old composition. So I played along. I said, yeah, looks to be very old. You see, this is how the great elders used to sing. I said, oh, really? And the old master said, yeah. Then he started educating me. Look at this composition. Sing again. So I sang again, naughtily, without telling him the story. because I was testing that knowledge. So he said, look, oh, Jude, okay, what a first approach to the first beat of the rhythm cycle, and look at the mutualism of the word and the meaning and the rag and the rhythm. Oh, this is extraordinary. He went on analyzing it, and in the end, but how old is this? I said, oh, seems to be very old. No, which maestro is, who composed it? I said, yeah, someone, I think you may have heard of him. Oh, really? Have I heard of him? I said, yeah, I think so. I think you have mentioned his name before. Really? Who is it? I said, oh, Bhai Baldeep Singh. I created it. So you test that. That's tradition. But the knowledge of composing, because my relationship with heritage, with knowledge is so intimate and so profound and so deep, that something that I create is a natural extension of the old. It is how the same raga system has suddenly bloomed now. It's like a plant. Sometimes you have a flower that blooms in a plant after every 14 years. There are flowers like that. The plant is there like a saguara in Arizona. If you go to Gurmeet and Nirvair was here, you go to Arizona, you have saguaras. They say, oh, it stands alone. There's one stem, They say one arm that comes out. They say maybe after 100 years, one small sprout comes, and there's another. So you have saguaras which can be 5 centuries old with multiple arms. The age is calculated like that. That's tradition. It's simply the manifestation of knowledge which is coming from the past without a broken, without a break, and manifests like a bloom. Anyway, I'm sorry, Claudio, you want to add something to it? I was just responding to this wonderful comment by Ramanjeet.
No, I really appreciate your speak now, because as I told you, it was an honor to me to be invited to talk with you, but not only because, of course, it's a chance to learn something new and to meet new people and new ideas, but also to touch, to be in contact with this heritage. And it's much to me. It's an enrichment, because we came from 2 different cultures, but we all belong to the same source. So when you sing and you sing this song that came from 1,000 years back, and there's one point where we have to stop with the mind, because we cannot go backward, but we know that they came much more far than we know, and that all came from the same point. So that's interesting to me, to listen to something new that it's very far from my knowledge, from my heritage, and from what I used to listen to, but thinking that at the end we all come from the same source. So the touching points during this timeline are much more than we can imagine, but we forgot. So your work is precious to recover what is getting lost. My work can be also important to preserve what we received, but also to try to discover what we lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we lost too. So it's a very inspiring work to do. So we cannot be bored at all.
No.
We don't have time to be.
Yes. As I sometimes joke that gods and goddesses create heritage, idiots lose them. So it's an absolute pleasure, really, Claudio. There's a message also, one of the comments from Deepa Mehrotra, who writes, "Now I realize why restoration, preservation of a musical instrument is so intricate and painstaking, requires a lot of patience and knowledge." That's, I think, as much a summary as one can make. And of course, there are several people very glad. And of course, Poonam Ayub, very dear friend, who says, perhaps this Baiṭhak is a tad technical for the agiles and the ignorant among us music lovers. She doesn't mince words. She says maybe this conversation is a tad technical for the etiquette list, for the animals, for the ignorance among us music lovers. So normally we hear music, this and that, but she was just noting that today may have been technical. Of course, many people come only if there's music, they would remain. But the conversation, the whole series is not just to entertain people. It is to educate people. It is to be educated. Like I am also educating myself. I am being educated. I'm learning and discovering different knowledge streams and learning about them, knowing them from close and so on and so forth. So but there are many listeners, our friends, who would only want to be entertained. If there's a song they would hear, or if there's only a particular kind of a song or a genre they are interested. Yeah. But I don't care, because my conversations are with a purpose. It's a matter of journey. Gurū Nānak is the second most traveled person in human history. But if you add his travel up till the Vatican and Jerusalem and beyond, then he becomes the most traveled person in history, some say. So when you travel, when you are celebrating his 550th birth anniversary, he traveled, he walked, right? So he took a boat, he looked at the technology, he heard languages, he heard music, he heard and saw so much. And to celebrate him, we are also journeying virtually during the COVID-19 times. And but I'm so glad that you are here, Poonam, and that you enjoyed. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation. It's like that. Claudio, thank you so much. I know that I've taken a lot of time, but I look forward to, just to recap, that I would be interested in looking at different instruments that you have restored, and to hear a story that you can tell of how, what all did you do, some of the technical aspects, and it will be an important mapping to do as well, from an archival perspective. And I look forward to meeting you in person, and seeing the instruments, and of course the project that you envisioned with me, Professor Claudio Brizi, and you, and the organ, which is from 1500s.
I'll be glad.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Pleasure, really, pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So friends, this was my conversation with Maestro Claudio Pinchi, and I really enjoyed the conversation. I'm sure that you all enjoyed, and that you will enjoy it. Others who've not been able to join today will take benefit from watching the recording, which will be there on my Facebook page. You're welcome to like and even dislike my page if you want, and then but of course share the video. Do share these videos. It's time for me to share with you what we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow is a very, very interesting evening also in store for us, and we're going to be I'm going to take you to Mumbai, and to be in conversation with Ustad Munawwar Masoom. He is a Sufi singer. He's from Bhopal, very, very important tradition, and he was a child prodigy. He was published when he was only 9. And he's worked with so many people. I'm particularly grateful to Dr. Jaspinder Narula, who made a mention of him, and they have sung together as well. So that was one that I thought you would be very glad to know. And it's at 9 p.m. tomorrow. Kindly make a note of that, because he will be joining after his evening namaz. As we've done often, the Qawwali and Sufi singers, they are, they're very devotional by nature, and they do observe the 5 namazes of the day, and we'll join him at 9 p.m. ਦੋਸਤੋ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਸ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਫਾਇਦੇਮੰਦ ਹੋਏਗੀ, ਲਾਹੇਵੰਦ ਹੋਏਗੀ। ਆਮ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਮਾਸ਼ਬੀਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਮਾਸ਼ਾ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਤਮਾਸ਼ਾ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਾਂ, ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੰਗ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਗਰਜਦੇ ਹੋਏ, ਬਰਸਦੇ ਹੋਏ, ਲਿਸ਼ਕਦੇ ਹੋਏ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਵਿਦਵਾਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਵਿਸ਼ਕਾਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਅਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਸ ਹੈ ਮੇਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਸੀ ਕਲਾਉਡੀਓ ਪਿੰਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਹੈ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 1600 ਤੋਂ ਚੱਲੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 400 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲੰਬੀ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਪਾਂਦੀ ਹਨਗੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਾਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੈਨੇਲੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਿਸ਼ੇ ਬਣੇ, ਔਰ 1930 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਰਗਨ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਕਲਾਉਡੀਓ ਪਿੰਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਣਾਏ ਨੇ, ਕੁਝ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖੇ ਵੀ, ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ। ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 70-71 ਤਸਵੀਰਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਦੇਖੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੰਮ ਦੀਆਂ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਸ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਅੱਛੀ ਲੱਗੇਗੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ। ਹਾਂ, ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਮੇਂ 'ਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਮਾਇਆ ਸ਼ਾਇਆ ਇਕੱਠੀ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਪੋਸਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ, ਅਤੇ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤਰਜਮਾ ਵੀ ਸਬਟਾਈਟਲਸ ਵਜੋਂ ਲਾ ਦਿਆਂਗੇ। ਪਰ ਇਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ 'ਚ ਤਸਵੀਰਾਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ, ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਉਹ ਬੜਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਕਾਫੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕਰੇਗਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਿਤ ਵੀ ਕਰੇਗਾ। ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਈਂਡਲੀ ਸਮਾਂ ਨੋਟ ਕਰ ਲੈਣਾ। ਵੱਡੇ ਸੂਫੀ ਸਿੰਗਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ, ਨਾਮਵਰ ਹਸਤੀ ਹਨਗੇ, ਉਸਤਾਦ ਮੁਨੱਵਰ ਮਾਸੂਮ ਹੋਣੀ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਾਲਕਿਨ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੇਗਮ ਪਟਿਆਲੇ ਤੋਂ ਹਨਗੇ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਬੜਾ ਮਜ਼ਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ, ਅਤੇ ਆਮਨਾ ਹੋਣੀ। ਅਤੇ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਸ਼ਾਮਾਂ ਨੂੰ 9 ਵਜੇ ਰਾਤ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਜਰ ਦੀ ਨਮਾਜ਼ ਅਦਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਜੁੜਨਗੇ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 9 ਵਜੇ। ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਛੇਤੀ ਖਾ ਲੈਣਾ। ਅੱਜ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਦੇਰ ਨਾਲ ਖਾਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਪਸ਼ਪ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਪਤਾ, ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਈ ਜਣੇ ਚੋਰੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਖਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਸ ਹੈ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਛੇਤੀ ਖਾ ਲਓਗੇ। ਅਤੇ 9 ਵਜੇ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੂਫੀ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਹੋਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਣੂ ਹੋਵਾਂਗੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਅਤੇ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਤੱਕ ਲਈ ਮੈਂ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਲੈਂਦਾ। ਖੁਦਾ ਹਾਫਿਜ਼। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਨਮਸਕਾਰ। Very good evening to everyone, and buonanotte Italia, and I'll see you tomorrow at 9 Satkartar. And thank you all for joining, and I appreciate you all have taken time out, in spite of the fact that it was a very technical Baiṭhak for the technicians, but for the jewelers who are jeweler protagonists from within the fields of arts and culture. Lots of love to you all, and I'll see you tomorrow.